as a woman. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Venerable Tenzin Dorji Lama to be our moderator. So please give him a big round of applause as Satu. So he'll be moderating. And yeah, and also our both Ajahns, Associate Professor Dr. Sanu Mahathanadull, Director of PhD Program Buddhist Studies, and also Assistant Professor Dr. Joanna Gruszewska, Center for Comparative Studies of Civilization, Faculty of Philosophy, Jagiellonian University in Krakow, Poland. So yeah, Venerable Tenzin, you may proceed through the session.
Hello. Okay. Pay my respect to the Triple Gem and pay my respect to the Mahasangha and Ajahn. So, without taking much time, I would like to invite our Associate Professor Dr. Sanu and Ajahn Sanu on the stage. And then second, I would like to invite Assistant Professor Dr. Joanna on the stage. So today we have, so morning we already have one session, and afternoon we have a very wonderful session regarding the topics of Buddhism and modern science, the integrative reflection on Tipiṭaka, so which is very interesting, especially for all our audience and students. So before starting the session, I would like to read about the Ajahn to the speakers' biography or short biography. So let's start from the Ajahn Sanu. So Ajahn Sanu, so Associate Professor Dr. Sanu, and then so he is the prominent scholar in the Buddhist studies with a specific focus on the Theravada study and the integrating Buddhist teachings with the modern disciplinary concept. And he is also an associate professor in the religious and theology in the currently serves as a director of the Doctor of Philosophy program in Buddhist Studies International Program at the International Buddhist Studies College, IBSC of Mahachulalongkornrajavidyalaya University. And when we're talking about his academic careers, so he is characterized as an interdisciplinary approach to the Buddhist philosophy, psychology, history, the holistic health, as well as the dedication to the bridging traditional Buddhist wisdom with the contemporary scientific and environment concern. So he has a lot of academic journals and the research fields. If you want to research more regarding his research, or if you want to read more about Ajahns academic paper and everything, you can go through the research kit and also the IBSC website. You can see lots of more than 200 something, both in language, in the Thai and the English. So this is short introduction of Ajahn. And also for me individually, Ajahn is very kind to the all students. I think most of students they knows Ajahn, and he's very kind to the students. He trying to always teach and guide students to finish their thesis, especially because most of us are very unknown regarding the academic sessions, writing our assignment, writing our thesis. So he's very kind and very active to helping us to guide. For me individually, he's my MA supervisor and who guide me along the way from the beginning to the end. So because I'm very unfamiliar with this kind of especially academic field, because my upbringing is like a very traditional kind of monastic education system where I never did this kind of academic session. So he is the one who guide me till end of my master. So he supervised all of my academic, and also he's my advisor in the PhD. So yeah, so that's the kind of a short biography. And then back to our second scholars. So let's go through the show, because each of the biography is very long. So I'm trying to make it shorter version to save our time, to have more interaction with the academic. And then through that, we can learn more things. So the second speaker, Assistant Professor Dr. Joanna. So if I don't know if I mistake your name, forgive me. And then back to her education background, she holds the Doctor of the Humanity degree, specialization the Liberty Studies, dissertation on it's about the Buddhist nun Theravada, so which is very interesting. And then she did this in the doctorate program at the Philosophical Faculty of Jagiellonian University. Again, I'm sorry if I mispronounce. And also he did her MA in the Religious Studies Institute for the Study in the Religion and Philosophical Studies in the same university. And then, yeah, her specialty is about the, which we mentioned before, also our Venerable Ashira, he mentioned. So about the, and also she did her PhD research, it's your PhD research, right? So it's about the women in the Pali literature, eminent Buddhist nun and lay women with the modern science. So same thing the Venerable Ashira, he mentioned. I think this is really interesting research field. For me also, the first time I heard the talk or speech regarding the Theravada, or especially the eminent Buddhist nun or lay women stories, I think this is also what we were discussing during the lunchtime also with her. So I think it's also really inspirational or inspiring for all the students, especially in the field of, we have lots of here nuns, bhikkhunis and mechi from the different countries and different traditions, to encourage them to study more on especially in the nun field. So nowadays in the society, people are so many talking about the feminist equality among the women, and I think this is one of the main topic to research more deeply, which all these teachings coming from the Buddha's teaching. So through these teachings, we can share all around the world what is really equality among coming from the Buddha's teaching. So I think this is very insightful, and maybe it's lack of my knowledge. I haven't seen much student doing research regarding this topic. So I think this is very inspirational encouragement for our IBSC students, also from the MCU as a bigger. So this is my short introduction about the professor. So back to our point. So this is today's topic. Is like today's discussion is very informal discussion. So we're trying to make it as informal. So then there's not much formality. So without formality, so we can discuss more easier. So when we have a formality, so it's difficulty to fit all the opinion. So we're trying to make it as much as some more informality. So first, I would like to invite Ajahn Sanu to say a few words, and then starting that, I will ask the question. Is that okay?
Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. The homage goes to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, and the fully awakened one. Most Venerable Assistant Professor Dr. Mahathanadull Piyapani, the Vice Director for Academic Affairs of International Buddhist Studies College, of the administrators, and also Professor Joanna Gruszewska, okay, and to lecturers, officers, and the students, okay, including the moderator, Venerable Bhante Tenzin Dorji. Okay. Well, first I would like to convey my total appreciation, how much I appreciate to be here in order to join the very special, this program is under MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding between International Buddhist Studies College that we met with the Poland, okay, the Jagiellonian universities, okay, and to give a very first introduction about this one, yeah, maybe we will be discussing, okay, about three main things, three main subjects based on the three subjects that you already have seen in the poster. Okay, that is the first one is regarding the Tipiṭaka analysis. Okay, or you can call it a Buddha Dhamma analysis. This subject is belong to the MA level in Buddhist studies, and the rest two subjects is very important. The next is seminar on Buddhist integration and modern science, right? And also some of the subjects will concern with the Tipiṭaka analysis and the integration, something like that. Okay, so maybe this is the very quick introduction from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ajahn. So normally we call Ajahn Sanu, so let me call you as Ajahn Sanu, which is easier for me. So I want to say thank you very much for Ajahn Sanu for introducing today's topic and the discussion topic. So next I will invite Assistant Professor Dr. Joanna to say some few words. Then we will start our session. Thank you.
Okay, so first of all, I would like to express my gratitude for the opportunity to visit the Buddhist Studies College and to be part of this college for these few weeks. I had a very great experience with teaching students. I very much enjoyed our today's morning session as well, morning lecture, and I'm very happy that it seems that maybe I was able to present something not that much researched in the college. So I'm very happy that I could contribute a little bit with my knowledge on gender studies and early Buddhist women, Buddhist nuns. So I'm very happy that because there are many knowledgeable students here, I'm happy that I at least maybe something new you have learned at least this morning session. So I'm very glad that I can be here, and I'm very glad that I can continue today with this talk. So my specialty is more in the Tipiṭaka, less in the modern sciences, but the framework of this seminar today, the framework of this talk, also shows that we have to get inspired by Tipiṭaka, by ancient texts, also today. So I'm looking forward to the questions, and I hope I will be able to contribute to the discussion with my knowledge. Thank you.
So thank you very much for the Assistant Professor Dr. Joanna for your speech. So yeah, I think it's really like for us or for me individually, it's really inspirational or encourage. As we can understand that your upbringing is especially in the Western country. So comparing to all of us as a Asian country, so our upbringing is mostly in the Buddhist country or Buddhist environment. So we have a lot of opportunity for learning Buddha's teaching or Buddha Dhamma. So in our daily life, we have lots of interaction regarding the Buddha's teaching. Even as a me monk, I spent more than 30 years or 20 years in monastery. So we have a lot of opportunity for learning Buddha's teaching, but her upbringing, but I'm not sure about especially in your environment, but as our perspective as a Western, so when we say Western, which is more like a different traditions there. So it's like a majority of different traditions, but still you come to Buddha's teaching and you did research on especially the Tipiṭaka and the Theravada, which is very encouraging, inspirational, or making example for us to learn from you. So also I was sharing with her like this afternoon. So if she shares something about her perspective from the Buddha's teaching or what she learned, which may encourage us, even that there's not much space environment where they can learn many things, but still she can learn all these things, do research, and she become like expertise on the Buddha's teaching, especially Tipiṭaka in the context of the Theravada or the Buddhist nun. So this is very encouraging. Just doing that research or doing the graduation of the PhD is enough for us to encourage to do our own way of the researching, especially in the Buddhist community. So thank you very much. So without taking much, I'll just jump to our discussion. So as Ajahn Sanu mentioned, so when you look at our topic, so Buddhism and the modern science, the integrative reflection on Tipitaka. So you can see here 3 topics. So first one is Buddhism, so-called Buddhism, or we can say Buddha Dhamma, or we can say Tipiṭaka. So we're just talking about the Buddha's teaching. And second thing is the modern science. So Buddhism and modern science, the collaboration or integration between the modern science and the Buddhism. So this is the second topic which we are going to discuss today. And the third one is the integrative reflection on the Tipiṭaka. So we are going to discuss these 3 topics. Based on these 3 topics, we are going to discuss about a few different questions. And then after the informal conversation or the informal discussion, so if we have enough time, so we may invite students to ask questions, maybe 2 or 3 or a couple of questions based on our time or schedule. So as we mentioned before, so first our topic is regarding the so-called Buddhism or Buddha Dhamma or Tipiṭaka. So I will invite the Ajahn Sanu for the first question. So even the Ajahn, he did both his MA and PhD regarding the Buddhism. So based on those research, and he was like a teaching in the IBSC so many years for the MA and PhD. So I want to ask him, how important is Tipiṭaka regarding your life or regarding your way of teaching, regarding your professional life? So how important is the Tipiṭaka?
Okay, this is very important, and it's like a classic. It's classic questions that people always, ask, both inside the Buddhism, that we can call it the Buddhist believers, and both outside those non-Buddhist believers, or even some group of people who have no belief in anything. So yeah, so before giving you these very significant questions, okay, I would like to make something clear at this room, is that what is Tipiṭaka? Tipiṭaka is the 3, Ti is mean 3, takas, where takas mean, Piṭaka is mean the containers. So it is nothing but the 3 containers that contain what? Contain the teachings of the Buddha. What is the teachings of the Buddha? There will be, people that always, make a question. What is the teachings of the Buddha? This is very important. What is the teachings of the Buddha? How far that we are away from the Buddha. That is, to more than 2,500 years. This is a long time ago, and there is just no single evidence, to prove us back to that time. There is only one resources that we can rely on to touch, to read, and to make understanding. That sacred scripture is called Tipiṭaka. So this is the first thing that we need to make understand, that what is the Tipiṭaka, and next we understand how important of Tipiṭaka, right? Some in Thai society, or even many countries that still on debate, is that how can we rely on the Tipiṭaka? This is another story, another topic to discuss in details. But the Tipiṭaka, in my view, right, consists of at least 2 significant reasons. First, it is the only evidence that we use to study the teachings of the Buddha in terms of historical stories. This morning, Professor Joanna mentioned about many, cases taken from the Telikatha, right? The feminism, the cases of how people, not only the women but the men, achieve to their final liberation. We study from where? We study from some of the, Tipiṭaka, something like that, from the sutta. Okay. Next, this is the first important thing is that the Tipiṭaka is the only resource that we have, not the mural painting, not the scripturals, but the text itself. The text itself telling the whole stories. Okay. And next, the next important thing is that Tipiṭaka is only reliable resources. I mean, it's not only just the text. It not just challenge us to believe, but the text is provable itself. The text is provable itself in the same way that we are also chanting, right? Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka, something like that, right? Sometimes we just call people to take a look. Ehipasiko. Ehipasiko means I challenge you to take a look at the resources. What is the resources? We talked about Tipiṭaka. Okay, so of course, in my opinion, Tipiṭaka it's so crucial. Tipiṭaka plays a crucial part in terms of to give us not only the ethical practice, not only give us to purify one mind, to purify our mind, but it also give us the intellectual knowledge. I mean the wisdom. So at this point, Tipiṭaka offers 3 challenges to the world of people who are hunger from, a lot of scientific problems and a lot of modern science problems. We're going to talk about this one later on. Okay, so this is the importance of the Tipiṭaka. Well, all of us know very well. Okay, all of every single students, ranging from Bachelor of Arts level. Okay, we have the director of Bachelor of Arts here a level also, to the program of MA. Also, the director is here. To the PhD program, and I'm a director. All of our students need to study primarily to the text, to the Tipiṭaka. So without Tipiṭaka, it's impossible. There is no existence of the Buddhist studies program without Tipiṭaka. So my opinion, this is crucial, important for the Tipiṭaka. Okay, and then next, what Pali Canon offers us. The Pali Canon offers us the 3 baskets, right? The 3 containers. The first containers regarding about the monastic rules, not only for the monks, but for the of female monks as well. We call it Bhikkhuni, right? And also, we have 5 main books in terms of the Tipiṭaka, Vinaya Piṭaka. We have Mahāvākka, the greater section. We have Julavākka, the small or minor section, and we also have the Khuṭṭaka, or the others, the others monastic rules that cannot contain to the previously categorization. This is regarding the Vinaya Piṭaka, which of course can be integrated very well in terms of all kinds of laws, all kinds of like rules, those kind of prohibited practices. So this is the first implication, first content taken from the first Piṭaka. It's called Vinaya Piṭaka, where the Suttantas. This is also very, very important because Suttanta is contained. Okay, it contains a lot of teachings regarding the people names, the places, the every single things, including the examples that are given, many places among the suttas. We have 5, right? Tima Sang Angku. We have, this is the the chanting in brief. Tima Sang Angku. Some can call this is the heart of the Suttanta Piṭaka. T means Tika Nikaya, the long discourses of the Buddha containing whatever that is so long. We have many, like Mahaparinibbana Sutta, Mahasatipatthana Sutta, and Maha something. This is the greater discourse, the long discourses of the Buddha. Ma means Majjhima Nikaya. It means the containing, or the we can call the Nikaya that contains the middle range discourses of the Buddha.
Yeah, we measure the discourses of the Buddha by its size. So whatever the size is in the middle range of the teachings of the discourses, you can find it in this second Suttanta Pitaka. Sangyutta Nikaya, this is connected discourses to the Buddha. Okay, those the teachings that we can combine, that can be grouped like Yakka Sangyutta, yeah, something like that. The classification just only those guardians, giants, Yakka, Tevata Sangyutta, something like that. If some student who interested particularly to study on those supernatural power, yeah, that made by the high power gods, yeah, it's a must to take a look from this Tevata Sangyutta. This is the third Suttanta Pitaka. Ang, this is also very important, and all the teachings categorized by numbers. Yeah, you can call it by 1, by 2, by 3. This is Angkuttara Nikaya, something like that. Okay, for Eka Nipata, and so the group of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until like 10 or more than 10. Yeah, Eka Tasaka Nipata, something like that. Okay, so it's very practical and very good for a student who knows the structure of whole Tipiṭaka, so that you can save your time studying the teachings of the Buddha by this different categorization. Okay, Kuttaka Nikaya, this is also, we cannot overlook, okay, on this minor discourse of the Buddha. Kuttaka is mean minor, yeah, minor discourse of the Buddha, which can be minor subdivision into like 14 or 15 books, different books. Yeah, it depends on the different counting system. The first one is, like Dhammapada, Chādaka. Also, there's a lot, okay? The path of discrimination, Pati Sambhita Makha, and a lot. If you have time, I strongly recommend you to at least take a look. You need to use your bare hands, your real fingers, to touch the real sacred scriptures and take a look by your own eyes. Okay, computer may be very, very good for you, very convenient. Okay, no one can graduate without computer, right? But at least you are like upasaka, upasaka. It's mean that the one who stay close to the text, upasok, something like that. So please doing that. This is the 5th books from the second containers that contain the teachings of the Buddha. How about the last one? We have a very strong discussion, yeah, that Abhidhamma Pitaka, the last basket containing the teachings of the Buddha, is not original. So this is another topic. Okay, it takes like a couple of days discussion, yeah, continually to finish. And at the final day of the discussion, we still cannot figure out and give up with the final agreement. So this is contained the Abhidhamma Pitaka. Why it's so contradiction like that? Abhi is mean higher, greater, ultimate. Dhamma is mean teaching on nature. So Abhidhamma Pitaka is mean Apitaka, okay, a basket that contain the ultimate teachings. Yeah, to be in precisely indicate, it's that Citta, Cetasika, Rupa, and Nibbana. That's it. There are just only 4 ultimate truths we call the items to study. Okay, Paramatta Dhamma. Citta is mean consciousness. Cetasika, yeah, mental concomitant. Rupa, materiality, and Nibbana, it's the final liberation. So this is also from our opinion, because I am, I study also Abhidhamma study in Thailand. Okay, the Thai program takes like more than 9 years to study to receive 1 degree. Okay, it's use our great attempt to study the whole thing. After study, I still cannot decode some of the, Pitaka, Abhidhamma Pitaka, due to its more subtle. Okay, some say that according to the history, okay, that we can find from the Tipiṭaka, it says that the Buddha originally made the first Abhidhamma content, yeah, to his mother. But everything was not happened in the human realm. It's happened, above. So Abhidhamma content is said to be not to be taught not to teach for us, for human beings. So who, what kind of people, what kind of sentient beings among the 31 plane of existence, what kind of satta, what kind of satta that can easily understand the Abhidhamma, the only one single containers, yeah. It's maybe not the humans, right? But anyway, even though we have a strong discussion on this Abhidhamma, whether it's not original or not, but you know what? To study the Abhidhamma content, it's really ignite the fire of wisdom inside my body. Okay, so it's not depend on the scriptures that is wrong or not. It depends on your how wisdom that you have amongst that touching scriptures. Okay, actually we have a lot more to talk, but okay, I will take this short for this time. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much for Ajahn, your wonderful answer. So maybe I will try to conclude Ajah's answer before inviting next speaker, because maybe I cannot remember everything at the end as a moderator. So I'm trying to invite each question as much as I can. So I think Ajahn was like explaining about importance before he was touching the how importance of Tipiṭaka. He was telling about the how Tipiṭaka is formed, what is Tipiṭaka. So he trying to explain, and then when we jump to the main topic, Ajahn was how importance of Tipiṭaka. He talking about the mainly 3 or 4 main topics. One from the practical point of view, second is like academic point of view, and third one is like from the scientific point of view, and the fourth one is the discipline or the Vinaya point of view. So that's what I catch up here. So when we're talking about the practical point of view, so what Ajahn was talking about how important Tipiṭaka to be practiced in our daily life. And when we're talking about the academic point of view, he was telling about all those like studies like BA, MA, PhD. Without the Tipiṭaka, we cannot do, or we cannot learn, or without the Tipiṭaka, maybe we are not here. Without Tipiṭaka, maybe he didn't mention, but it's like indirectly he is also saying that without Tipiṭaka, MCUs doesn't exist. Without Tipiṭaka, IBSC doesn't exist, because all these like our academic session, BA, MA, PhD, it's all based on the Tipiṭaka Buddha's teaching. So I think this is what Ajahn saying, the importance of Tipiṭaka from the academic point of view. And also from the scientific point of view, he was saying, he quote one thing, which is very interesting. I used to heard this sound from our director also, ehipasiko. So ehipasiko, which means, I think this is also the one of the unique from the Buddha's teaching. So Buddha never afraid of his teaching. He's like a full open, because he's teaching for the old. They can argue with in Buddha. This morning, like our professor also saying, we can debate with the Buddha. So Buddha was saying, you can come and see his teaching. So there's no hitting anything. So you can come and see. If you accept, if you can understand, if you can accept, or if you can practice, just follow and practice, you will gain what Buddha received. So from the scientific point of view also, we can do that research. So nowadays more and more, many scientists coming up to do research about the mindfulness, all those things. I think this is what Ajahn is mean to be the ehipasiko, come to see. So he's talking about the scientific point of view, which is very important, especially for the modern. And the last one, so he's talking also about the Vinaya point of view or discipline point of view. He touched some part of the Vinaya also. And then the last one is, he's talking about also if you want to gain the kind of like a unique power, psychic power, or if you want to born in the Deva realm, you can also practice Tipiṭaka. You can learn from Tipiṭaka. So you can born in the Deva realm, or you can gain the psychic power. So I think this is what Ajahn talking about, if I'm not.
Yeah, sorry. Even though Tipiṭaka is so much important from the scholar's perspective, right? But you know what? The later text after Tipiṭaka, it's also important. I'm talking about those commentaries, sub-commentaries, Atthakatha, Tika, Anutika, and so on, something like that, including the present text offered by the contemporary teachers, like us, like me, like Professor Joanna, something like that. Well, one thing I would like to make clear here in order to support the importance of the Tipiṭaka itself is that the commentary is also very important. In this morning, Professor mentioned a lot from Tipiṭaka, from Dhammapada, right? But you know what? If you take a look in the real Tipiṭaka, as primary resources, you find a little bit not in details, something like that. But you can find a lot more details regarding the story, the whole story, the history of each Thera and Theri, something like that, from the commentary. Okay, and one of the most popular commentaries in the world, recognized widely from Westerners, is the Dhammapada, commentary. Okay, one thing, when I study Pali language, we as a student, we were forced to read a lot, not from the whole Pitaka, but this is Thai tradition, okay, Thai system. It's the whole text, mainly from commentary Atthakatha. And my very first year, I read about the first Dhammapada Atthakatha. Okay, in Thai, it's subdivided to like 8 sections, 8 chapters, 8 ภาค Dhammabot 8 ภาค Okay, the words of the Buddha, Dhammapada, 8 chapters in Thai. Okay, but the same content. The first word, Yamaka Waka. The section on twin, Yamaka Waka. The first one is very popular. Cakupala Theravatu. The Arhat who used to sustain the religion, Buddhist religions, but who lost his eye. So he's the Arhat, blind Arhat. Okay. One thing that it's mentioned about the responsibility of the Buddhist is that duras. Before his liberation, before Venerable Cakupala Thera retreat, before his liberation, he approached the Buddha, and the Buddha said this to him, because he asked about how many duras. The Buddha said this, that Attano Panyanu Rupena Ekang wa Tawe wa Nikaye Sakalang Wapana Tipiṭakang Puttavachanang Tipiṭakang Puttavachanang Ukhanitawa Tatsa Taranang Katanang Wacha Nang Itang Kanda Durang Nama. To study the words of the Buddha, okay, Puttavachana, to study the words of the Buddha, 1 or 2 Nikayas, or indeed the whole Tipitaka, with one wisdom, Attano Panyano Rupana. You need to have wisdom. Without wisdom, you cannot read the whole and context of Buddhist context. With one wisdom, okay, and remember it. Study, reading without remembering, it's totally nonsense. It's totally waste. Okay, so you need to remember it, chanting it, and say it. This is the duty of study. All right, and the Buddha further mentioned about this one. Salahukavutino pana panta sena sana piratatsa atta pawe khayawayang pattapetawa satacha kriya wasena vipassana wattetawa arahat takkahananti itang vipassana turang nama. However, the duty of contemplation, which leads to arahatship, involves frugal living, satisfaction with the remote longing, fixing firmly in one's mind the knowledge of decay and death, and the development of insight meditation with persistent effort. What does it mean? It means that we are here not to meditate, not to fulfill our duties on the contemplation. But if you study deep enough, you will be more clever. Is that some of the case, where some of the arahat, some of the Theri or Theras, where one is listening to the Dhamma. Listening is supposed to be the study of the teaching, right? But that can be practiced as well. So this is something that very challenge us to interpret, okay? But my main focus here is that you need to separate the two goals based on your duties as clear as you can. Otherwise, you will destroy the whole, the two duties. Why? There is one reason, one best reason why Venerable Cakupala selected to fulfill only one at that time, because his reason is that the Buddha, my Lord, my age is at this old. I am an old one. I do not have the rest of my life enough to study the Gandhatura. Can I take Vipassanatura? Something like that. So what does it mean? It means that the two duty is too big for you. Sometimes you may feel like you are like a tiny chicken, a tiny chicken. You are not growing up. So you need to build your nest, yeah, to suit your capacity, something like that. Okay. My meaning is that between the two duties, it's make us to fulfill our, duty of the study of the words of the Buddha. That's why Tipiṭaka is very important. This is the conclusion to your first question. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Ajahn. I think I forgot almost all because
That's okay. That's okay. You do not need to, conclude everything. Okay.
I just asked a very short question, how important Tipiṭaka is, and Ajahn give me like a very long answer. So I cannot summarize everything, but I will try to do my best to remind you, or at least you can get some takeaway because Ajahn give a very long. So I think, as I mentioned before, so Ajahn was talking about ehipasiko, which is very important. I think this is the unique about the Buddha's teaching. So this is where the Buddha can challenge the scientists, modern scientists. So we are not afraid of the scientists can research about Buddha's teaching. So in Buddha's teaching, so that's what Ajahn was saying here. So they can do research, they can criticize whatever they can, but Buddha's teaching is always truth. It's based on reality. Second thing, the second session, Ajahn was talking about the importance of the commentary, not just the Tipiṭaka. The commentary is as important as the Tipiṭaka. Without commentary, we cannot learn, we cannot explore the Buddha's teaching. I think that's what Ajahn mean. And also he was talking about the memorization. So without the memorizing, without the remembering of the Buddha's teaching, it's difficult for us to practice. I think that's what Ajahn also mean, but that's my interpretation, okay? Maybe he mean another, but that's what I receive. So I think this is also based on when we look at the traditional learning style of each monastery, not the modern university, but if you look at the traditional education system in whichever country, in the Thailand or wherever country, if you look at the traditional, even Ajahn was mentioning that he also quoted Pali, the Pali study in Thailand, so 9 years. They also need to memorize all those texts. Without memorizing, you cannot engage, you cannot study, or you cannot deep exploration based on that topic. So this is also the based on the Buddha's teaching, even Buddha time. So monks has to memorize Buddha's teaching, one for the propagation or the keeping Buddha's teaching alive. So we need to memorize. Another thing for the practice, for the learning. So memorization is also Ajahn mentioned here, very important thing here. He mentioned that meditation is not only practice. So he mentioned that in another way of practicing, the memorization or learning Buddha's teaching is also meditation, is also practice. So I think this is very important as a student, as an academic student. So we are learning or we are engaging with the Buddha's teaching every day. So sometimes we feel that this is not the meditation, this is not the practice. But I think Ajahn was saying that this is also one way of practicing. When we say Buddha's teaching, so Buddha's teaching is talking about our inner. So that means whenever we are engaging with the Buddha's teaching, we are always engaging our inside, way of our living, or where you conduct your life or how you live. So that's what Ajahn mean here. I think when we're starting the academic way, it is also one way of practice, not just the meditation. Academic is also one way of practicing. If I'm not wrong, so if I'm wrong, I'll ask Ajahn to correct. Okay, then Ajahn approved that's the correct. So that's what Ajahn meant. Okay, then back to our second speaker. So I will ask them question. How important is the Tipiṭaka? Because so far we knew that the assistant professor Joanna. So because she did her PhD on the Buddhist field, and she's expertise on especially on the Theravada. So then based on that and based on her professional life and based on her individual life, how Tipiṭaka is important, especially in the upbringing in the Western countries, especially upbringing in the Western academic institute or environment, how the Tipiṭaka is important.
Thank you so much. So from the Western perspective, from the Western research perspective, I could add probably that I think everyone who wants to know the history of Buddhism and everyone who wants to understand Buddhism has to study Tipiṭaka at least to some extent. So maybe not everyone is able to study like the whole Tipiṭaka. Some basics I think are needed to truly understand, the context, the emergence of Buddhism, and the Buddhist values. So as Professor Sanu mentioned, this is actually like the oldest historical source available to us. We do not have any archaeological source that old. So this is our basically only source from the earliest times of Buddhism. So it would be like a point of departure for everyone who wants to do research on early Buddhism. Like it's basically impossible to ignore Tipitaka. And also when one studies different traditions of Buddhism, still like to understand the development, it's good to have some background in early Buddhism as well. So during our study programs at my university, when we teach BA program in Buddhist studies, we start with subjects like Buddhism in the light of the Pali Canon. So I teach students about the basics of the Buddhist doctrine, and we read English translations of the most important suttas. And we also teach several subjects on Buddhist history. So the first part is about the earliest Buddhism, and also like a major part of this subject is also there are many references to Tipiṭaka, and it's basically impossible to understand the development of Buddhism without at least some basic knowledge. And the second thing, I think, for anyone from the West who wants to learn anything about Buddhism, also it's important to remember that the Tipiṭaka is not only an ancient text, it's still a text that is performed, is recited. From the Tipiṭaka, the Theravada Buddhists derive their values, their way of life, they conduct. So it's not only like an ancient source, it's something that is still like part of lived religion. And of course, like I think that the easiest example I give to my students is the life of venerable monks that would still adhere to the same Vinaya rules as they are presented in the time of the Buddha in the Vinaya Pitaka. So it's not only an ancient text, it's also something that is still very much alive, right? And not only monastics, but also the lay Buddhists would derive their conduct, their ethical conduct from the teachings of the Tipiṭaka. And as Professor Sanu mentioned, like we've got so many different divisions, so many different texts of Tipiṭaka. So it's basically like there's some teaching for everyone. We've got those short verses of Dhammapada, but we've got also long discourses. We've got Jatakas that could be understood even by children, right? The meaning of Jatakas would be easy to grasp even for people who are not very educated, and yet in the same collection, in different division, in different basket, we've got Abhidhamma, which is very sophisticated, very much advanced way of philosophical speculation. So there is such a variety. So the Buddhist doctrine is basically available for everyone. In nowadays societies, as I've noticed during my stay, that Thailand is a very good example. Like the Tipiṭaka is very much alive in here. So it's not only an ancient source, and especially I was very moved when I was hearing the chanting. So every day those texts are chanted. They are still, used. They still serve as an inspiration, as a meditative practice even. And not only monks chant, also the lay people chant. And so sometimes, like my friends, like non-academic friends, would ask me, like, why would you study such topic? Because they do not have the knowledge, of the historical significance of the Tipiṭaka, and they would think like, oh, but from what you are saying, this is like a very ancient text. Like, and I was like, but you know, there are millions and millions of Theravada practitioners who actually recite those texts, and they recite it in original Pali every day. It's not like something that is just a text on the shelf. It's something that is still recited, and you know, the conduct of every diligent Buddhist practitioner is based on the ethics that are presented in the Tipiṭaka. So I also think that if someone wants to learn something about contemporary Buddhism, some basic knowledge about the Tipiṭaka is also very important, because like we would not be able to understand modern Theravada societies being totally ignorant about Tipiṭaka. So from Western perspective, I think it's one of the most important sources. Every Buddhist scholar, every student of Buddhist studies, or even people who are just interested in Buddhist history, Western Buddhist practitioners, I think all of those groups would benefit a lot from studying at least some parts of the Tipiṭaka, and it is basically not possible to have like some idea of the development of Buddhism and nowadays lived religion in the Theravada societies without knowing at least some fragments of the Tipiṭaka. Thank you.
So thank you very much, the professor. So again, same thing. So very short question and a very long answer. So I will try to summarize. So I think the professor was like saying, so to understand how important of the Tipiṭaka, it's important for us to understand the history. History means because we are talking about authorship, like who's author of the Tipiṭaka. So it's important to understand the author, which is Buddha himself. So he taught, and then his Sangha collect. It's like from the assembly. So he's talking about it's also very important to how importance of Tipiṭaka. Before understanding that question, we also need to understand who author, the history. So this is also important. I think this is what she mean by. And then second thing is also talking about the development of Buddhism, because in the Buddhism, so it's since 2,500 years before till now, there were lots of developments, so changes. So it's important to understand all these developments. We need to understand the Tipiṭaka itself. So the development of Buddhism, it's also very important to understand Tipiṭaka. So this is one angle. Another third angle, very important, is like even the Tipiṭaka or the Pali canon, normally we say it's dead language, but the Tipiṭaka itself is very alive, which is like a living alive. So even is relevant to our modern society more than before. So that is, I think, she mean by our way of life when we're dealing with the way of life. And she take a very example as a monk in a Theravada society or as a monk, so which is the living example, which is following the Tipiṭaka, which is practicing the base on Tipiṭaka. So living their life with the harmony or peaceful, doing meditation, all those things. So this is also relevant to the modern. And also she mentioned that Tipiṭaka is the very important term here. Tipiṭaka is not the text in the shelf. So I think this is very important terms she used. So normally when we say Tipiṭaka, people always thinking text which in the shelf we venerate, we respect. But if you look at what mentioned, so Tipiṭaka is also a very living thing, which is, when we say Tipiṭaka, actually it's a text. Text means not the book. When we say text language, it's a verbal, which we are speaking. The book is like a language, the script. So when we say Tipiṭaka, which we are chanting is Tipiṭaka, which we are reciting in the form of language is Tipiṭaka, not the text. But we keep text as a Tipiṭaka, but real Tipiṭaka is the verbal itself. Then the content of the Tipiṭaka or the Sila Samadhi Panya or all those texts is like a realization. So I think that's what she mean here. Tipiṭaka is not the text in the shelf, but what the living things in the Pali, in the Thailand, in the Theravada countries, they are reciting, chanting every day, since morning to the evening. So this is the real Tipiṭaka. But again, this is my interpretation. So yeah, I think also she mentioned that in the academic point of view or in the philosophical point of view, Tipitaka is very important because she mentioned here Abhidhamma, so which is more like a very philosophical, very academic. So in that point of view, Tipitaka is also very important. So this is my conclusion of. So I'm not sure if I'm wrong. Please correct it. So again, I get an approach. Okay. So then, actually, I was going at the beginning. I was saying like a very informal, but I'm trying to be more informal. Then I will do as much as informal. Okay, then, yeah, back to our second question. So, when we say Tipitaka, so as the both of the speaker they mentioned, so Tipitaka talking about the many topics, it touching the whole different topics, our way of life. So then, when we're talking about the Tipitaka, so I just want to ask, how might the Tipitaka's emphasis on the ethical context, or normally the ethical or morality, in the form of present scientific practice and research ethics? Because I think this question is very important. So because that's why I'm bringing here this question. When you look at the modern society, especially in the modern education system or modern academic system, so these ethical, or in the Buddhist we say sila, so ethical, the morality is lacking there. So because of that reason, we can see in the society many difficulties. So that's why I just want to ask Ajahn Sanu, how might the Tipitaka emphasize on ethical context and inform the present days based on the scientific practice and the research ethics?
Okay, quite a long question, this one. Try to grab the whole idea of this question, okay? Asking about how could be, or how could we apply the content from the Tipitaka to two things, to the scientific practice and the research ethics. Okay, I think we can combine the scientific practice and the research ethics into oneness. Yeah, that's something about ethics, right? Because earlier you mentioned about ethical conduct in terms of the sila. This is very important. Yeah, I love this question because he asked the very clear question. Sometimes if you use one single language apart from the Pali, it makes easily understanding, right? Asking in Thai from the context of Pali, or asking even in English, the second language translation from the Pali one, it's quite risk to get the wrong answer, based on the fact of good answer, good question, good answer, right? So that's why if sometimes that you are not having good knowledge, do not ask, right? Because you're supposed to ask what you know. At least you have the foundation of knowledge, yeah? And then the answer will sharpen your idea. This is the way, okay? So my point is that if we start from the Pali original language, yeah, asking with the Pali original language in that question, it will clarify many things, because the second language translation can always alter, can always vary. For example, sila, okay, in Buddhism, according to the Buddhism, it have only one implication, but sila can be translated into the second language, variable, multi possibility. For example, sila can be translated as virtue, morality, and ethics. Yeah, there are, there's a lot more. There are three different implications, yeah, that on the second language. But how can in Pali we have only one short term? This is always Pali, and this is the best thing that I love Pali. That I love the selected language that the Buddha did for us. Because why? Pali, it's so penetrated to every single areas in the world. It's not reserved to only noble families in the past, like Sanskrit, or even those kind, or even a local language at that time. And this is the very good things on how to learn the Pali. Okay, so come back to the sila. Sila is the Pali, right? Sila is Pali. Sila, it's very
it's very clear things. Okay, if we would like to understand Sila, we need to know the threefold trainings first, right? Threefold trainings. What is it? Ati Sila, Sikha, right? We talk about Sikha, which is the whole process of education, of the learning education process. Yeah, it's regarding Sikha or to study. Yeah, the first one of the threefold trainings or threefold study, you may, or threefold whatever, threefold learnings, okay, is that Ati Sila Sikha, yeah, to study Ati Sila Sikha, study higher of morality, okay, or virtue or whatever, yeah, something like that. Why the second one is Ati Citta Sikha, the study of higher contemplation, higher mind, or higher whatever, okay. The last one is Ati Panya Sikha, the study of higher intellectual, higher wisdom, or etc. So based on this framework, this is very framework, and I often use this one in my teaching every time I integrate these teachings to the modern science. Okay, I always mention about this one because it's very important, and this is not only the evidence that the Buddha mentioned many times amongst the Tipitaka, but these teachings belongs to the Buddhas. I mean, not only our Buddha in this Patalaka, but the 5 Buddhas, yeah, Siddhartha Buddha. No, it's not. Okay, but threefold trainings belongs to the teachings of the Buddha, something like that. Okay, Sapapapasa akaranang, kusala supasampatha, sa citta pariyo thappanang, etang buddhana sasanang. So this is very easy to avoid bad, to avoid evils, yeah, to do good, and to purify one's mind. This is the teachings of the Buddhas. Why I mentioned about this one so far? Yeah, because you asked me about the Sila. This is not easy, and this is very big because it's contained, if we calculate, if we make a quick math, okay, if we give the threefold trainings, if we give the 3 things, 100%, Sila, Sila govern 33.3333%. That is much, nearly half, something like that. Okay, so of course, I would like to give the very short answer is that, yes, it can be utilized in every, domains, in every countries, to every believers, based on what they need to do, what they must do, what they must not do. This is the main concept of Sila, something like that. All right. If you study Visuddhimagga, which is, the path of purification, which is later text, okay? Later on the commentary, it's arise on the something around, somewhere around 945, yeah, composed by, Venerable Buddhakosacharya. Visuddhimagga mentioned about Parisuddhi Sila, Parisuddhi Sila, purified morality, yeah, consists of 4, yeah. Patimokkha Sangvara Sin, observing to the Patimokkha 227, 311, according to, the monastic rules and bhikkhunis, yeah. This is a kind of, Sila, morality. Okay, so from this point, monks and nuns, they can apply to it. Not scientists, you asked me about scientists and research works, yeah. If monks and nuns, what they are doing is concerning to the research works, yeah, the answer is yes. As long as they observe for the Patimokkha, yeah, Sangvara Sin, this is the answer is that yes, we can apply the concept of morality from Buddhism to solve their, scientific ethics and research practice, research ethics, whatever, something like that. Okay, and then we have a lot more. But Parisuddhi Sin, one of the best thing is that that the 4th Parisuddhi Sila item is concerning with the to observe on your basic consumption. Pacaya Sanniti Sila, when you are eating, when you are wearing your robes, when I am, donning my neckties, not the robes, yeah, because the robe is not for me, not for you. This is a kind of sila from Visuddhimagga implication. You know, this is very big. So I mean, in conclusion, morality can be best applied to those behaviors to control, to give the rewards, yeah, to control those who did bad, to give the rewards to those who did good. This is the main concept of sila. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much, Achan, again. So, yeah, I think it's very difficult because he used so many Pali terms, which is very unfamiliar with me because I'm not expertise on the Pali. Because Achan, he learned the Pali, which grade? 3, 4?
Only 3.
Yeah, because he learned 3 grade Pali. So I'm not expertise in the Pali, but I trying to understand my own way. So I think Achan was talking about at the beginning when I used the term sila, it's important that he's talking about from the perspective of epistemology or how to say that, from the terminology point of view. I think sila is very important because sila gives a direct meaning, what it means. But when we translate the sila into the English, so we are not really translating, we are using the equivalent term. So we're using many terms like he mentioned that virtues, morality, ethics, so many terms we're using, which is not really literally translation of the sila, but it's the equivalent term. Similar when you use the karuna, so we're using compassion. But compassion doesn't carry the term, the connotation or interpretation or meaning of the karuna, but the compassion carries another meaning, but we're using the equivalent. So this is my own example, but I think Achan is saying about the importance of the term sila itself. So it's very important, which carries its own meaning. So I think that's one thing. And the second thing is very important, 3 trainings. So I think this is also very important, that because when we say 3 training, so this is the 3 training is the subject or the contents of the Tipiṭaka, which we discussed before, how important is the Tipiṭaka. So we have a 3 Tipiṭaka, and then it has a 3 subject, 3 contents, which is like we are saying the sila, citta, and panya. So each of these 3 are the content or the subject of the Tipiṭaka. When you're talking about the sila, which is the content of the Vinaya, so that's why I think Achan mentioned 2 to 7 and 311, right? 2 to 7 and 311.
Yeah.
I think that's what Achan rules, right? So this, yeah, for monks, yeah, especially for the Theravada monks, 2 to 7, and for the Bhikkhuni, 311, which is the for monk 2 to 7. Yeah, 2 to 7 for the monk and 311 for the Bhikkhunis. So which is Achan talking about the sila in the context of the Vinaya. So which carries the subject of, we can say, yeah, I think the subject or the content of the Vinaya Tipiṭaka, which contain the 2 to 7, so which is the subject. And when you're talking about the second thing, as I mentioned, the Adhicitta or Adhicitta or Samadhi, so which is contained of the sutra. So normally that's such an I think he means. And then third one, Panya. So he also mentioned Abhidhamma, which is the content of Abhidhamma. So I think from this also point of view, so he is also talking. And then, so he also mentioned that about the Venerable Buddha Kosha. So who was talking about the Visuddhimagga. So he's also talking about how importance of those things. So through this way, we can merge together with the sila and the modern research together. So yeah, that's my conclusion. And then the same thing back to our second speaker. So from your perspective, so because when we say the Tipiṭaka, when we say sila, maybe this is like we are talking about the Buddhist context, Buddhist text, or the Buddhist morality or virtue. So in your point of view, how might the Tipiṭaka emphasis on the ethical context or sila in the present, the scientific research or scientific practice and the research ethics, especially, okay, let's say based on the Western point of view?
Okay, thank you. So I'm thinking that the ethical ideals presented in the Tipiṭaka, I think they are very universal. So they can be easily adopted in different cultural contexts. So I believe the sila presented, the way of presenting ethical conduct in the Tipiṭaka could serve as an inspiration for nowadays researchers as well in terms of research ethics. There is a lot of discussion, right, especially about the use of AI, whether the use of AI is ethical, to which extent we can use AI when we, for example, write a paper. Is the very existence of AI ethical at all, right? So there are many challenges, and of course, I believe this universal ethical message we can find in the Tipiṭaka could serve as an inspiration even for such contemporary problems. And I think there is a passage in one of the suttas. I now forgot the source, but maybe Venerable Sirs can help me locate the source. So it seems that there is a fragment in the Tipiṭaka when it is said that if someone lives up to this ethical ideal, if someone lives according to what the Buddha taught, that person can stand in front any assembly, without shame, without guilt. So it's also like I believe it's phrasing that if someone lives ethically and in this ethical way of presenting it in the Tipiṭaka, one would be able to be present in front of like any assembly, any company, and that person would be blameless. That person would be considered a person of good conduct. So even like despite of other religious differences, I think the ethical message of the Tipiṭaka is quite universal and could be an inspiration even for scholars who are not Buddhists. And of course, the ethical aspect of research is very much discussed. So, for example, when before I came for this visiting professorship, I took part in some kind of a workshop organized at my university. So it was a workshop to teach us teachers about the use of AI, so we could learn a little bit how it works. And we also had some discussion during this workshop, like to which extent it should be allowed in the classroom, for example. And I also gave an argument that maybe we could find something in the Buddhist ethics that will be able to guide us. And I think, when there are those contemporary problems, we do not really know how to cope with them. Like, for example, the use of AI in the classroom, in paper writing, in research. We can still have some guidance from the ethical message of different religions, and I think Tipiṭaka has especially universal, especially easy to apply message on this matter. So, of course, we will probably not get like a definite answer because there is no mention of AI in the Tipiṭaka, right? But still, we can draw from those core principles and try to orient ourselves according to them. So I think that will be my answer for this question. Thank you.
So thank you very much again. So I trying to make it short. So yeah, Professor was talking about so Buddha's sila or ethic is like a universal. So I think, yeah, that's I accepted. Yeah, I mean, sorry. It is. So I like that question. I mean, the way of answering universal ethics. So I think it's very important. So universal. And the second thing is, the professor was talking about the AI. The nowadays the AI is very big topic. So it's like there's no specific ethics regarding the AI, especially in the universities, like students or in the field of the modern, like a business or wherever. But I think she's pointing about the Buddhist ethic can relate it or can guide the AI ethics. And then also talking about when you have a sila, when you have a very strong contact or morality, so you are like a blameless or you are like a harmless. So I think you are full of confidence, whoever you meet in the stage or any people. So that is, I think, what Buddha mentioned in the Vinaya. So when you have the perfect context, so you are like a baseless, harmless. So yeah, thank you very much. Then based on the last question regarding the Tipiṭaka or the Buddhism, so I would like to ask Ajahn, in what ways does Abhidhamma related to the contemporary cognitive science and psychology? So because Ajahn also did the research on those topics, so I would like to invite Ajahn to share his perspective regarding this topic or question.
Okay, it's quite a little bit deep. Okay, question, because we talk about the whole science, big science. Psychology is very big. Same as Buddhism, same as philosophy. Yeah, that's 1 year of study is not enough. Okay, Buddhist studies course in PhD in the past we need like 3 years, but now 2 years is enough. So at least 2 years to study not the whole not the whole Tipiṭaka and commentaries and its later text. Okay, but this take time when you talk about psychology. Okay, this is first. It's very huge science from the modern science, and the next is cognitive, right? Cognitive science. Also, actually, cognitive science is recognized as subscience of the psychology. Why? Because cognitives study the cognition of the human beings. Cognition is a part of the mental abstract form. Okay, so cognitive is a subset of the psychology. I would say that my answer maybe cover only psychology. Yeah, actually, there are a lot of branches of the psychology. Okay, cognitive science, behavioral science, cognitive behavioral science, neuroscience. They are subsets of the psychology. Okay, in order to give you the understand that answer, we need to know what is the root of the term psychology. It's mind, right? Psycho has been something about humans beings' mind. What is mind? Do not try to answer me because you take a lot of times, yeah, something like that. So psychology is to study the science or the study about the human's mind. Okay, not focus to the animals, to plants, yeah, because plants do not have mind, do not have consciousness, yeah, something like that. Okay. How about the science of the mind in Buddhism? As I mentioned earlier about the 3 baskets containing the teachings of the Buddha. It's not the first one. It's not the second one, but it's the last one. Because, the Paramatta Dhamma consists of 4. Okay, again, if we wait 100%, yeah, to cover the 4 things, Citta and Cetasika, it's govern half of the ultimate truth. It's very big, it's very huge. Okay, and you need to study with your blood, with your time, with your life to understand just only one Pitaka. It's called Abhidhamma Pitaka. So my best answer is that when we would like to understand on the secular, science, psychology, we need to put aside it first and take a big look in the Abhidhamma Pitaka. What is science according to the religious context, which is totally different? No, you cannot debate, yeah, in one day, okay, about the common and the differences of the mind or consciousness or whatever. In Buddhism, we call it citta. It's very precise, okay, and very clear. But when you talk about the science, the mind from the modern science, how many possibilities of terms? Mind, abstract, what else? I don't know, but more than one, okay? But in Buddhism, we call it citta. But also, we have the Vaipot, synonyms. Cit, mano, vinyana, same, okay? Vinyana itself can be translated, can mislead you to the wrong translation. For example, vinyana in Thailand, it's a ghost, which is something different, right? So, okay, come back to the Pali and English, okay? No need to talk about the third language, all right? So what is the mind from the Buddhist perspective? Yeah, unfortunately, I cannot give you the whole, answer within the limited time. But one thing you should know is that citta, what is it? Is the aramana cinta na lakanang. Aramana vicca na lakanang. Consciousness characterize the knowing. Whatever is know, that is citta. So cit is the knower. That's why some insight meditation, especially Thai meditation, they teach their disciple that you are not the observer, but your consciousness is. You see, if you use yourself, if you use other aggregates, that is not the consciousness aggregate. Yeah,
you will have the false conclusion. Yeah, you cannot conclude it. You cannot learn the ultimate truth by your eyes, by your ears, and because they are very narrow, something like that. So come back to the citta. Citta is something to know. How about cetasika? I mentioned about citta and cetasika. It's like they are like a family. They are like the very close friend. Because according to the Abhidhamma Matta Sangha by Venerable Anuruddha, he said this regarding the cetasika, or the mental concomitant, mental factors, mental qualities, and so on. Okay. He said that ekuppatha nirodhaja, ekuppatha nirodhaja, egalampana vattuka, ceto yutta tavipanyasa, thamma cetasika mata. Concomitance means, cetasika means the mental concomitance consists of 52 types, with the 4 qualities, with the 4 characters. First, ekuppatha is with its arise together with consciousness. What kind of things that simultaneous arise? You see, they must be very close. Yeah, cannot set apart. Cannot cut. We cannot cut our citta, consciousness, from our cetasika. This is the first character. Nirodhaja. What does nirodha means? Cease, die, extinction. So it's arise together and it's cease together. If you and me, we was born together and we die together, we are so close, right? You and me, we are brother. We are nothing but the brotherhood. Okay. So yes, this is same as citta and cetasika. Ekalam palavatuka aramana. They have the same emotion. They have the same, mental objects. And the last one is very important. They share the same place to live. That is hataya vatu, something like that. Okay, the objects. Hataya vatu is one of the form categorized by from the 28 different materialities, something like that. So this is a very brief thing. What is war? What we need to know about citta and cetasika is that this is the big difference that we really cannot find from psychology. You see? So in this part, Buddhist lens or Buddhism can show or can support or can give the wisdom to the scientific attempts. Something like that. I mean, please do not misunderstand me. I did not mean that scientific process have some mistake, yeah. But I am talking about the perfect combination, the perfect integration between oneness and another thing that is lacking, something like that. So from this perspective, this is just only its brief meaning from Abhidhamma Matta Sangha. What if you study more and more and more? Come on, 1 year is not enough. It's the whole life for knowing more on the perspective, the reality that suggested by the Buddha. I mean, if you study Abhidhamma content very well, you will know that why the Buddha give this content to his mother, because he loved mother so much. So the first thing that he did is to went back to see his mother, some in the heaven, something like that. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ajahn. So maybe I'll just very short because we are out of time. It's already 2:30, so we are only in half an hour. Still, we have very far to go. So I'll just make it very short. So Ajahn was talking about the psychology and the cognitive science. When we say cognitive science is part of psychology, and when we say psychology, it's related to the mind. When we say mind in the Buddhism, we're talking about the citta, or he mentioned also vijnana or manas. So all these are terms of the citta. We translate in English as the mind or consciousness. So this is one thing we may confuse talking about the terminology. So second thing, so he's talking about the citta and cetasika. These are always together. So citta is the main, like a main thing, and cetasika is like one who's working. So it's like so it's always together. So that's what Ajahn mentioned, and also how it grows up citta. So means that because of cetasika is working, so in the 4 ways of working, so the citta is grow up. So this is what Ajahn mean here. And then, yeah, that's very short. I try to make it very short. So then back to the same question to our professor. So you, because your upbringing is the Western kind of academic session, I think you are very familiar with the Western psychology and the cognitive science, which is like a very interesting topic, also very related to the Buddha's teaching, like a special Abhidhamma. So can you kind of explain what ways does Abhidhamma related to the cognitive science, or when we say cognitive is also kind of neuroscience and psychology? So can you share something, like enlighten us on your way of understanding?
Yes, thank you. So at my university, there's a cognitive science division as well, being a part of Faculty of Philosophy. So cognitive science very much derives from psychology and philosophy. And I think the goal of cognitive science, the shared goal of cognitive science and the Abhidhamma, is the reflection on the human mind, like how the human mind works. So we've got the same goal, and maybe not to go into such details as Professor Sanu. I think like for the Western researchers who research how the human mind functions, like how to understand human mind, Abhidhamma could be an inspiration, and it should be like some kind of point of interest, at least to some of the cognitive scientists, because Abhidhamma would be one of the first attempts of like the systematized reflection on functioning of the human mind, and those attempts of categorization, like naming different functions, coining all those specific technical terms, even if those technical terms might not overlap 100% with modern scientific framework, still as a very first attempt to have this organized reflection on the human mind, I think it is something to be studied and to be that could serve as an inspiration, especially in the study of consciousness, could be inspiration for the study of human mind. And of course, nowadays, cognitive science is very much interested also in studying meditation and the effects of meditation. So, and of course, Abhidhamma literature also has interest in this matter. So, I think Abhidhamma, but also like the rest of the Tipiṭaka, also the suttas that teach about meditation, Mahasatipatthana Sutta, could be some inspiration and source of information, those first ideas how to tackle this research question of how the human mind works. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll just conclude very short. So when we're talking about the the cognitive and the psychology or Abhidhamma, and I think in the Professor Universe, it's categorized as a philosophy. And then also when we're talking about the psychology, it's mainly talking about the how human mind's working. So this is similar like what Buddha teaching in the Abhidhamma. So whole context of Abhidhamma is how our mind is working on citta or cittasika, the mentality or the mental factors working. So this is what she's comparing here. So those two are related. And also when we're talking about the mind, so it's in the Abhidhamma is the one of the important or one of the main texts which explaining the functionality or the function of mind and the mind or mental factor or citta or cittasika, which explain very details with the structure. So I think that's the most important thing here. And also when we're talking about the cognitive science is in the Western field, it's also talking about the mind or which is related to the meditation. So in the Abhidhamma, it's also talking about the meditation. So from that angle, so cognitive science and the Abhidhamma has also relation or related from the meditation point of view. So this is what Professor is mentioning. So then So we have 3 topics here. So I will go quickly. I just finished the first part. So second part is like a modern science, Buddhism and modern science. So first, my question is, it's very important question because nowadays people are practicing mindfulness, which is very popular. And when we're talking about the cooperative or also in the business point of view, which is the bestseller item in the world. So let's say how does the mindfulness practice help in the today's world? Because we have lots of stress, more and more stress. So we need mindfulness more than before. So how important mindfulness in the today's world? I'll just invite Ajahn Sanu to share his perspective.
Okay, I will try to be very brief. Okay. How does mindfulness help the world? Something like that. Right? Okay. Oh, at least okay. There are a lot of possibilities to help. Okay, but at least 2. The first one is to help increasing or promote their understanding, simply wisdom. Okay, because wisdom or panya can alternatively translate as wisdom or sometimes understanding. Yeah, there are many texts from the Sutta Tipiṭaka that translated used the word understanding. Yeah, from translation of panya, right? Panya, from my opinion, it should be wisdom, but there are many resources, there are many evidences that understanding can be also intellectual. Okay, so first Buddhist teaching on the teaching and practice on the sati, okay, can best help them to increase their wisdom. That's it. So simple. Why? Because if a people who was born know nothing about sati or awareness, whatever. Yeah, there are many translations. Yeah, let's see. Mindfulness, awareness. What if they do not know the awareness meaning? Can you imagine how bad? The way they drive, the way they walk, even now, the way they talk, the way you talk, if without sati, the way you study, the way you taking an examination. Yeah, when I am taking an examination of my Pali, of my Abhidhamma, if without sati, so I lost my awareness. What if you would lost your awareness? It will ruin your life. Okay, it will first ruin your understanding. Next level is to save their life. Okay, giving some example on while they are driving, while they are working. Think about those laborers who work hard in the industrial work with a lot of heavy, machine. Right? With a little mistake, their light is gone. Something like that. This is the second level. Third, they can achieve the same status of the Buddha, of the Arahat. How about that? I think this is the best part, not the first 2 benefits, but the last one is the best part. That's why we have the 4 foundations of mindfulness. This is a long story, okay? But I will do long story short. Is that if you follow the path, because this is the Egaya Makka, Egaya no yang Makko Bhikkhave. This is because this is the one and only, not just only the one and only path for your liberation, for the purification of beings and so on. So sati only can not only save your life, but save their whole life, save their next reborn nation, save their numerical numbers of reborn. You and me. This is not our first born, but how many born? How many reborn we took? It's impossible to count. Okay, so sati only save this. Okay, yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you very much, Ajahn. So, yeah, again, kind of short. So, Ajahn was talking about the 2 main things about the mundane life and the noble life. So, he was talking about the mundane life. Sati is very important. So, he talking about how sati can understanding level, intellectual level, wisdom level. So way of life, when you're working in the cooperative, even you're driving, without sati, we cannot survive. Even we are talking here on the stage, without sati, we cannot speak. So in the mundane life, sati is very important for the in each and also from the noble or the monks or the solitary, like a secular life, or let's say the noble life. So it's also very important. So he mentioned that ekayana, which is like a one and only way to get enlightened. So when we say noble life, so we are trying to seeking the enlightened nibbana or whatever. So the practice of sati is the only way to get that level, to reach that level. So from that angle, sati is also very important. So again, I will invite our next professor. So from the modern scientific point of view, so especially nowadays, the mindfulness is very important or very hot topic or one of the best practice or best item to sell in the West. So from that perspective, so how does the mindfulness practice helps today's world, especially the very chaotic of this modern life? So how important sati is or mindfulness is?
So in the West, mostly mindfulness is presented in secular framework. So as the mindfulness-based stress reduction program that was basically like laid out by John Kabat-Zinn. So there are some variations of this, but mostly it's like 8-week courses. But those courses are mostly conducted or are designed to be conducted from a secular perspective. So maybe there would be some mention that types of meditation that would be introduced during the course originated in the Buddhist context, but it's rather thought of in a very different manner. So. But even without this Buddhist context, those courses are reported to have a great impact on participants' health. So basically the stress reduction as the main goal, the many problems with anxiety, with lack of sleep. Many people report that this is something that helped them a lot. So there's lots of research, I think, in the West from different perspectives, like from perspective of cognitive science, psychology, but also from the point of view of textual studies. The mindfulness is like one of the most hot topics, right? So this is probably one of the most, if we search keywords in scientific papers, it's probably one of the most common topic of research right now. So it seems that even from the secular point of view, it still gives lots of benefits, and that's why I think it has this lot of attention from different scholarly circles. And I personally also participated in such 8-week course based on this like secular framework, and I also, I think, benefited a lot with this construction of this course, with like practicing meditation in the specific framework, meeting with the group every week to share experiences, and like 8 weeks was, I think, is this proven idea that it's enough like to ground the basics, but of course it's just one of the possibilities, of course, to practice meditation, right? But this is one of the most popular ways meditation would be introduced in the Western world, by those mindfulness courses that would be secular. So of course, mindfulness would be like very important in today's world, would be very important for the practitioners of Buddhism in Asia, in the West. But even without this Buddhist context, it could still be relevant, and it could still bear fruit, so to say, especially in terms of reduction of stress, reduction of anxiety. And in nowadays Western societies, there is a great problem with anxiety, stress, the fast pace of life, the economic problems, lack of stability in terms of politics. All of those things contribute to a lot of stress in Western societies also. So maybe some aspects of life could be considered like better taken care of, but still the level of anxiety, the level of stress is immense in Western cultures. And mindfulness is one of the, I think, most successful, most efficient ways of challenging those problems. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think our professor explained very details, and I think you can get all her context. So she's talking about first she mentioned the John Kabat-Zinn's the MBSR. It's MBSR, right? The mindful based stress reduction. I think many of our IBSC students also doing research on when it comes to the mindfulness, they're also referring the John Kabat-Zinn's the MBSR. So that's what she's talking about. Because of the practice of mindfulness, they can get away from the anxiety, like a sleepless and all those things. And it's also related to the cognitive science and all those things. Especially in the modern society, people are more busy, and then because of that, lots of information. So it's like it brings us a lot of stress. So the mindfulness can give the kind of peaceful. I think that's what I just conclude here. So we are lacking of time. So then I'll just jump to the third question. So it is also a very important question. So regarding the Tipiṭaka and the modern science, so where do the modern science and Tipiṭaka diverge in the explaining of the reality, nature of reality? When we're talking about the nature of reality, so where modern science and Buddhism the diverge. So I just invite.
Can you come again? Nature of what?
Where do modern science and the Tipiṭaka diverge in the explaining the nature of reality?
The nature of reality. This is easy to answer, but very, very hard to practice. You know, who in here know or realize the nature of reality? You can raise your hand. Maybe if you raise your hand, you are knowing, and the reality maybe is not matched. Why I say this? Okay, this is not easy to follow, but I try to give you the satisfied answer as I could. Okay. When we're dealing with normal things, the secular things, even so, it's not easy, Professor, right? For some scientists, yeah, when you do your scientific experimental test, sometimes the result is come up wrong, right? Due to some factors. Yeah, it's skipped it for analysis or wrongly analyzed, something like that. This is the worldly study. But how about the utmost, the ultimate level of reality? I think that when you mentioned about the nature of reality, you include the ultimate, conventional and ultimate truth, right? We talked about the Four Noble Truths. Arya Satya. Okay, I don't want to touch that high, but to have the integrative ability is not easy. One needs to have, like I said, I always convince my students to have the firm knowledge on the Tipiṭaka first before implementation or before applying or before integrating to the science, which is not easy as well, right? So I would like to say about this sutta. It's very good. I love this, and as well as as well as Westerners, it's very popular. This one. It's the Kalama Sutta, Kesaputti Sutta, Kesamutta Sutta. Have many names. Okay, the Buddha said in the Anguttara Nikaya, the book number 1, Tikanipata, the group of 3, the page number 188. He said this to Kalama regarding how to promote one's wisdom, not to easily believe on these things, believe on the Buddhist religious and mysterious content, or believe on the scientific proof. So the Buddha said is that Kalama ma anuswena ma paramparaya ma itikiraya ma pitaka sampathanena pitaka sampathanena ma takahetu ma nayahetu ma akara parivitakena ma titti nishana kantiya ma papparubataya ma samanono karu. Kalamas do not rely on
Do not rely on reports, legends, traditions, sacred scriptures, logic, inference, reasoning, analogies, pondering wheels, probability, and just because you think that he is our teacher, what does it mean? What does it mean? What or who to believe? But some of this is a very great discourses given by the Buddha, but there are misinterpretation. Yeah, if you're not carefully make understanding of this, the original purpose given by the Buddha, you won't believe in anything. But it's not. The Buddha said that do not believe just simply because this and that. It means that at the end of the process of thinking, you need to choose to believe or not to believe. That is why I always, encourage my students not to believe, especially when they are searching for their data and information. Right? This is very easy, and it's very easy for ones to violate the plagiarism. Why? Because if one believe on the report, research report, tradition, according to the different countries, offer different traditions. Yeah, legends. Oh, in the past we have in the Tipiṭaka we have the semi-god animal is called Naka. Oh, can fly, can do something like that. Or there are a lot of things to be carefully considered from this point. I would like to emphasize on the fourth one. The fourth warning is that Tipiṭaka Sampathanena. The sacred scripture use the same name of the Tipiṭaka, right? But we should not translate it as the Pali Canon. Scriptures. We cannot even believe on the scripture. Why? What should we do? If you give up, you can do. But I'm not suggest you to give up. You need to study harder and try to understand the original purpose given by the Buddha to Galamas. I will finish with the last one. This is also very, very important, and this kind of problem happens to many countries. They have only belief to their masters, and this kind of belief, this kind of superstition, or how to call belief without wisdom, it's make a lot of bad. Yeah, if you believe your master, yeah, if you believe on your master, the result maybe it can give the very negative impact to yourself and to your master as well. For example, if your master step his feet on the hole and fall, it doesn't mean that you need to follow your master's step. If so, you jumped in the hole and maybe die together with your master. What for? So what you should know from this from the last one is that sometimes you need to have more wisdom than your master. That's why the Buddha mentions that believing on the master wholeheartedly, it's destroying things. Okay, something like that.
Okay, thank you very much. So Achan, I think so. He mentioned here a very important sutra regarding this question. So he mentioned here Kalama Sutra, which is also one of my favorite sutras. So yeah, when I'm speaking something regarding the Buddhism, I used to quote from that sutra. So Achan already explained, which deconstruct the teaching, Buddha's teaching. I mean, this is like when you engage in this teaching, you can understand how Buddha is the realistic, how Buddha is like a rational. It's not like a conservative. So that's what Ajahn explaining here, trying to explain here. So when we're talking about the Buddha, when he was giving the teaching or advice to the Kalama, so person who asks Buddha question, especially in that age. So I think I can't remember he or she. So that person cannot understand which to follow, right? So which direction to follow. Buddha give that instruction to her, Kalama. So I think that's what Ajahn he mentioned here. So this is in that teachings, Buddha talking about reality. So that's Ajahn him in here. So then same question. So I will invite our professor. I just try to make it very short.
Whether my answer, direct to your question. Good conclusion.
Yeah, I just trying to interpret my own way of understanding. So you can interpret your own way of understanding. So you can just take away whatever you receive. So that's my interpretation, or that's what So that's what Ajahn mean here, Kalama Sutra. So do not listen Ajahn what he said, but listen your own understanding. So this is also what we are doing here. So you can listen many things from teachers, but at the end, it's rely on yourself. So that's what Ajahn mean here. So I rely on myself, and trying to interpret it my own way. So whether it's true or not true, I'm not sure. So next I will invite our professor to share same perspective, her own perspective regarding these questions. So I will go together with the question of 5 and 6. The way do the modern science and Tipiṭaka diverge in the explaining the nature of reality? So can you just give?
Okay. So from the Western perspective, from the perspective of Western scholars, like the most problematic elements present in the Tipiṭaka that would not be very much accommodating towards the modern scientific thinking would be cosmology, and also like the presence of supernatural beings. That would be those would be like the most criticized elements, because their existence cannot be proven scientifically. But still, I think there is like lots of space for interpretation. So for many Western Buddhists, the supernatural beings could be interpreted in terms of psychology. So they would not regard them as the spiritual spirits or demonic beings, but as some kind of a metaphor that would illustrate some psychological process in the way that was probably easier to understand for the audience in the times of the Buddha. So even if there are some elements that would diverge from modern scientific thinking, I think we still got some space for interpretation. And as Professor Sanu mentioned, the Kalama Sutta and many other fragments of the Tipiṭaka like give us some guidance, like how can we interpret? And it seems that what the Buddha taught was not like very much dogmatic way of teaching. So we've got other similes, like the simile of the water snake, for example. So the same water snake, but like taken into hand in a different manner, could be harmful, not harmful, right? Or the simile of the raft. So the raft could be very useful to cross to the other shore, but when we are walking on the shore, it would be an obstacle, right? So there are some elements that we could accept, and that some elements that would be only applicable to some extent. So I think we've got some guidance in the Tipiṭaka how to deal with such situations, and well, it will never be like 100% compatible with modern science, but still, I think what is compatible can serve as an inspiration and as guidance for modern scientists as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Professor. So again, I'll try to conclude here. So the professor was talking about the supernatural and all those things. We can see this kind of thing in the Buddha's teaching, so many things. Even this morning, so professor was showing one photo, how Buddha was like born. So in the photo, it clearly shows that Buddha was born under the, elbow? Under shoulder. So I think this kind of thing like a very supernatural. So we have our own way of explanation. So, but for the reality in the Buddha's teaching, we no need to go parallel with the scientific, but still we have our way of on explanation. Even the professor was using the simile or analogy about the snakes in the raft. So we have our own way of using our explanation, whether we can use in the negative way or positive way. So even the snakes in the raft. So I think this is what she mean by. Professor mean by. So lack of the time, so I'll just directly jump to the Buddhism integration theory or BI theory, so which is the integrative reflection, the Tipitaka. So I was just trying to jump on the last question. So how might Buddhist principle help the guide solution to the ecological and environment crisis? I think this is very important question because we can see the so many difficulties which we are facing in the society, all these ecological the crisis, so or environmental crisis. So I'll invite Ajahn Sanu to share his perspective regarding this question.
This is a very huge problem, okay? Because if we compare things amongst the available social, modern science, the environmental or ecological science, from my opinion, is the biggest tool. Ecology means about our rhymes, our spheres, right? And also environmental, it's include external, everything, woods, land, water, include yourself. Do not forget to include yourself into the experimental observation, okay? Because one of the big mistake from the scientific practice is that they just forget to put them into the test, and this is a big, big challenge for them, because I don't see the possibilities for them to use, because the tools they use, the methodologies they use, the evaluation things that they use, the science used is completely different to the Buddhism. Okay, so this is one matter to concern. All right, in terms of the integration of Buddhism, okay, to solve this kind of ecological and environmental problems, I cannot see the ways. We can't, Professor. We just cannot. Without Buddhism, one of the safer, that from our opinion is Buddhism. Without Buddhism, there's a lot of evildoers that so stubborn, and they are going to continue their bad, things. They won't stop. One thing to stop them is to educate them by Buddhist content. Okay. In the past, unfortunately, students, both in Thailand and foreign students, including IBSC, they do not have the resources regarding the Buddhism integration yet. But I would like to talk about a little bit on my research, because I conducted one big research together with my team, also Ajahn Nandakon as well, and you as well. Okay, he is my co-researchers. The name of the research is Buddhism Integration Theory for wisdom and virtue development in the 21st century, where we propose one theory, two rules, 7 principles. One theory is a BI theory. All right, I will make sure that you guys have the resources for your personal citation. Okay, please citation, give that citation to my research. Okay, two rules consist of DRI and HRI. D means DI stands for dual relational integration, Professor, where two simple domains are integrated. Where the second rule is Venerable Tuan as well. We did together. The second rule offer the holistic relational integration, which consists of 4 small principles. I would like to talk only to the last principle. It's called 7 principles. The name of this principle is problem solution based holistic integration. I repeat, problem solution based holistic integration, where we gather all of the possible problems in the today modern world. Okay, the second the 5 cluster, all of the problems has been classified by 5 cluster. The last cluster to answer your question is that the 5th problem cluster is named environmental challenges, which includes climate change, global boiling, not warming, okay? No more warming. Now it's already boiled, right? Ready for drink, okay? The hot tea, hot coffee, okay? PM 2.5, particulate matters 2.5, you know very well, right? Renewable energy, we are, lacking of energy. So that's why we find for the, second energies like, how to call? อะไรนะพลังงานแสงอาทิตย์ solar cell, sorry. Solar cell may be included, right? And in the future, we may use the water power to run the car engine and a lot more. Why? Because our world has been destroyed completely. There is no more single, resources, power. We need to make one. Or if we are failed to do that, then we are going to move the planet, okay? You and me, we go together. And also, when we decided to move to the planet, the last problem arose. Space debris, Professor. A lot of junk, a lot of debris, kaya, that we throw up outside the space. I don't think we can travel smooth, okay? If we moving the planet, if we abandon this world, we are going to crash by these space debris done by human beings. Okay, I have no more time, but I strongly recommend you, okay, to read more about the Buddhism integration theory concerning about how you could integrate Buddhist content into your scientific study.
So thank you very much, Achan. So it's already 3, but I will try to conclude very shortly. So Achan mentioned here very important thing is like in the modern science, so they do research a lot about the material or outside, but mostly they forget the inside, the researcher itself, that what they're dealing in. I think it's Achan mean by he mentioned that don't forget put yourself in. So it means like to do research inside. So which means what the Buddha's teaching is all about the research inside. I think that's what Ajahn mean here. And then also he mentioned, he touched about his on the research. So he mentioned very details here, DRI, the dual relation integrate, and HRI, the holistic relation integration. And from that, so he talking about the problem solution, the integration. So he also mentioned about the global warming, which is like what we can see right now in the Thailand, especially in the May, June. So it's like a boiling. So when you sit in front of the fan, you can feel like you're sitting in front of the fire. So this is like what we are facing in the society. So he also mentioned about these space junks, which we cannot see, but we can see from the YouTube or those videos in the outside of the universe, outside of our this so-called Earth. So there are lots of junks, so which may hit our Earth and it will destroy. So that's, I think, Ajahn, what you mean here. So then if he also mentioned that if you want to read his that research, you can go to the ResearchGate or researchgate.net. You can use Ajah's name, Google. So use Ajah's name. You can see there is the research paper. The research. You can see the research paper. It's very big, huge one. So you can more than 200 or 300 pages. 365 pages, 400 pages there. So you can go through for reading and doing your research, and you can refer from that. So then the next, I'll just, without taking much time, I will just invite the professor to share this about the same question. So how might the Buddhist principle help the guide solution of ecological and environment crisis?
So I'm not as knowledgeable as professor in this matter. I haven't done research on this matter. So I think my answer will be very simple. And I'm very much looking forward to learn from what you have found out during your research. So I think, again, Buddhist principles can serve as an inspiration, and like the idea that of paticca samuppada, that every element of the environment is connected. So the humankind is not like a separate division, but it's integrated within the nature's world, and then the humankind should also take care of the nature. And also, second thing, I think this ideal of compassion, present in the Tipiṭaka, present also in Mahayana, in Vajrayana, the ideal of bodhisattva, compassion towards animals, plants, environment, future generations. That is something that should be guiding future attempts in terms of ecology and sustainable environment application. Thank you so much.
So thank you very much. So here again, Ajahn also mentioned very important terms here. She mentioned Paticca or the interdependence, which is the core teaching of Buddha. So it's talking about the whole system, cause and relation. So I remembered when she mentioned that, I just remembered that one quotation from the Martin Luther King. So he was talking about the, I think I can't, if I'm not wrong, he's talking about the Christmas Eve, the speech. He mentioned that if you want a peace, or if you want the peace in the world, so we have to understand that in the early morning, when you're taking a cup of coffee, so that cup of coffee is related to the half of the population, the whole world. If you look deeply, even it's a cup half of coffee, but if you look deeply, how many people related to one who was making cup, coffee, and everything, so you can understand that half of population is related to the cup of coffee. So if you don't understand that, the topic or that essence, we cannot bring peace in the world. So that is, I think, Ajahn mean by here, the Paticca Samuppada. So Buddha's teaching is also same thing. When we Buddha say Paticca Samuppada, my happiness is also related to yours. Your happiness also related to me. In our universe also, university also, same thing. So, and also that's what she mean by here, in my own interpretation. And then, yeah, thank you very much for both the speaker. So I hope that all of you get a very enlightened understanding regarding all those questions. Even we have a lot of questions to ask, but still lack of time, shortage of time. So we have to conclude here. So I have to say thank you very much for the speaker and Ajahn. And then I hope you get a lot of knowledge. For me, I get a lot of knowledge. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, all the three of them here, especially both our lecturers, Associate Professor Dr. Sanu Mahathanadull, Director of PhD Program in Buddhist Studies, and our special guest lecturer, Assistant Professor Dr. Joanna Gruszewska from University of Jagiellonian University, and our moderator, Venerable Tenzin Dorji Lama. He has done such a wonderful job. Thank you all for being here. I think now we shall move on to, I'm not sure whether we should take a break or not. I think we shall move on because we have very limited time. Within 1 hour, we have to finish at least 5 participants. So I think, please, our lecturers, please, I think you may return back to your seats. Take your seats, and then we'll allow some of the staff to clear the stage. I think they're using the podium, right? So we have 5 presenters. They will be presenting on their research papers. I'm not sure whether. Oh, okay, it'll be like this. So you'll have to bring your laptops here then. Then you can join the plugs around here, right? Okay. So the presenters will use this podium to present their papers. Okay, right. So I hope all the participants, all the presenters are ready. We'll start from the first one, who is also a PhD student. We'll start on the topic, understanding consumption behavior through the lens of a neuroscience. Yeah, also please do not be hurried to return back yet. We still have to take a group photo at the end of this session. All right, so please, if you can wait around 1 more hour to be with us here before we end our program, it will be successful today. So may I invite Venerable Anuphon Manirat, PhD student in Buddhist Studies, to deliver his talk on understanding consumption behavior through the lens of neuroscience and Buddhism. So please give him a big round of applause. Yeah, and one more thing is I think each participant will have around 5 minutes to present their talks. Okay, so not more than 5 or 6 minutes. Maybe we can do the Q&A session at the end. All right. Yeah. 5 or 6 minutes, or yeah, I think not more than 7. Okay, delayed not more than 7, right? Let's do it a quick preview about your papers.
Wedding slide. Không xẹp đi vào. Không xẹp đi. Phần đi. Okay. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Respect to Ajahn. My topic is sexy sound or not? My topic is understanding consumption behavior through the lens of neuroscience and Buddhism. In our day of the globalization, the most of the consumers driving the economies, human consumption behavior has come increasingly complex of the health because a lot of food and nutrition is a complex of the chemistry complex. In also our brain's dopamine system in the neural part is a role in reinforcing consumer desires via areas such as the prefrontal cortex. Anyone knows the prefrontal frontal cortex? It is a part, the first part in our brain. In here, this is a high sensitive of the dopamine. And the function of dopamine is the in about a post decision, and also we call in Pali tanha. In another way, the Buddhism call the middle way emphasize the balance, advocating for mindful consumption as a path to personal and societal well-being. This is a in the top one. The top one is a tyrosine. Tyrosine is the initiate complex compound to derivative to be the dopamine. This composition will degrade some function. This amide function to be the dopamine in the adrenal glands. Adrenal glands is in the top of the kidney. The top of kidney they call the adrenal glands. Adrenal glands produce many of the compound such as adrenaline. Adrenaline, the isomer, the structure look like tyrosine and dopamine. If we eat a lot of the seed species such as soybean, they have a lot of the tyrosine. For the dopamine mechanism underlies not only the natural rewards but also consumption behavior where dopamine signal wanting everything wanting. If we see some food or the food that give the rewards such as the endorphin hormone. Endorphin give us the happiness, right? Or craving and encourage approach the behavior toward consumption stimuli. For the next, in the Buddhism perspective, as we know, the tanha leading to the dukkha, right? If we craving more and suffering more. Second, in the middle way for the preventing the harmful consequences of overconsumption or self-denial and enabling a harmonious lifestyle. And also Yoniso Manasikara is the one of Dhamma that which encourages critical awareness about the motivations behind consumption choices. For the last one is the sati. Sati, this one awareness enables deliberate rather than reactive consumption choices, fostering freedom from habitual patterns and supporting intentional moderation aligned with personal and ethic values. For the bridging neuroscience and Buddhism, the first is the dopamine mediate reinforced loops in the brainwave system. I searched for the dopamine mediate some research about the meditation can control the dopamine and also cortisol in the brain reward system, especially the mesolimbic pathway. And also mindfulness meditation induces neuroplastic change the brain regions. Neuroscience reveals that environmental cues, including advertising and social context, can.
So can you finish within 1 minute?
Yeah, can. And activate brain circuit link tanha and consumption of an outside conscious awareness. For the implication, if we inappropriate consumption behavior such as overeating, right, and such as sweety, fatty, and salty foods, and lack of the exercise is a big problem because it affects to the economic behavior. If you be a patient sick and you cannot work and your organization have to pay the expenditure for healthcare, right? So if the good health, the community will develop because the can help foster a good food and culture within the families. Within we start at the family behavior, so which leading to sustainable improvement and community quality life. This is conclusion, bridging of both perspectives together. Individual and societies can move toward healthier and more mindful form to consumption practices that not only enhance personal well-being but also contribute to sustainable and compassionate world. Thank you for your time.
So thank you very much, Venerable, for your wonderful presentation. So now I will invite our the Ajahn to give you a comment. So first I will invite Ajahn Sanu to give a comment based on your presentation.
Okay, Venerable Anupon Manirat. Okay, congratulations on your very interesting topic. Okay, regarding the topic, I think the topic is very good. Understanding consumption behavior through the lens of neuroscience and Buddhism. Okay, from the title can best suggest or can best point out to the two signs, which is non-Buddhism and Buddhism, very clear. So in terms of the title, is very clear. Okay. Well, but due to the limited pages, yeah, I think you need to add up a little things. Okay, especially I like to request you to add up to clarify the term consumption, because consumption from the modern science, will, and Buddhism is completely different. Okay, in Buddhism, we have one doctrine that you need to mention seriously. It's the way that we use the four necessities. The four necessities. I think you can take this. You can start from this clear implications. Yeah, from Buddhism. All right. There are four. In general senses, it's in Thai we call Pachai Si, right? Pachai Si. Yeah. There are four necessities. The first one is food. What we eat. Yeah. In Buddhism, it's Pindapata. It's for monks. But the same concept. Okay. The people eat. The first one, the second one is clothes. I, you, we, yeah, we are not the animal, so we need to cover our physical body with something. We call it clothes. Yeah, for monks they call it jivara. Jivarani, yeah, jivara, pangsukula jivara. Yeah, it's the kind of ropes that taken from the dead body. This is the original idea. But in your article, you can mention something more. It's just closed. The third one, it's Senasana, the place, the home, monasteries. Yeah, because people with different seasons, we cannot stay outside. We need to have a shelter, right? In the past, in Akanya Sutta, yeah, we build that. We built home for some private things, something like that, and then something was not good happens. Yeah, the people, have sex in the home at first, and then later on they do it outside. So a lot of people cannot stand that one. They throw rocks to that one. This is the idea, the historical idea. The last necessity is very important: medicine. Kilana Pachaya Pesacha, right? Medicine for the sickness people. Okay, if you clarify this one, then your further explanations will be very easy. Okay, are you going to study food? Food, of course. You mentioned about some neuroscience regarding the food, right? Then how about the clothes? Also,ก็ได้. No, I like you to select, yeah, carefully. Okay. Home, place. Are you going to study place as well and medicine? I don't know. Yeah, this is absolutely depends on you. Maybe food and clothes. In Thailand, we have two terms. บริโภค และอุปโภค ปริโภคะ eat round ปริโภคะ right? It's mean eat. อุปโภคะ it's mean to use. We won't eat clothes. We eat food. Yeah, but in terms of using or consume the clothes, it's also consumed, right? But consumed by using. So in brief, in your study, you should identify there are two main consuming types. The first one is what we eat, yeah, by mouth, by the digestive system, and the second one, another one is we use it. We cannot eat. So eatable and uneatable objects. Okay. That's all.
Okay, so I will invite the professor.
Thank you so much for your presentation. So I agree with Professor Sanu. So I will not repeat those points. I think that I would be very much interested if you would direct your research, if you would provide in your research some possible not only implications but like an actual ideas for solutions, like actionable steps that could be applied for tackling this problem. So not only the ideas that could serve as an inspiration, but maybe if you could proceed with your research, maybe in the future, like how exactly, how to measure this decrease of consumption among people who would engage in mindfulness practice. So like those more like, I would be very much interested in whether there are some solutions you could produce, by this research that could be applied for modern societies. But thank you very much. I think this is a very important problem, very modern problem. And I would like also to congratulate you on your presentation skills. I think you are a very good presenter. So I wish you all the best with your research. And I thank you very much for your interesting presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much of our two the professor for your wonderful comments. I think the Venerable Anuponi, he got a good suggestion and commenting for regarding his research. So now I would like to invite the second presenters, Venerable Panyananda, to present his spiritual friendship of Kalyana Mitra and the foundation of the social harmony within 5 minutes. Thank you.
Hello, hello, Kotarano, everyone, and Jan. It's a great pleasure to see you all together here. The topic of my presentation is the topic called the spiritual friendship, Kalyana Mitra, and the foundation of social harmony. Let me present. This is my content, you can see in this slide. And going on next introduction. In modern world, a crisis of human relationships, the characteristics, the alienation and fragmentation make social life. Even though the world has made a lot of technical progress and become more connected, most of the people still suffer loneliness and mistrust and lose all the social tie. Here, the Buddha lesson show how the Buddhist idea of friendship work is the stronger and long-lasting model for social behavior that can address the problem with the relationships exist in modern society. Friendship is a relationship, mutual affection between two and more people. It is a stronger from interpersonal Buddha association. The World Happiness Database study found that had the higher level of the happiness. Most of the people, they spend time, their family and their friends. It is had the higher of well-being. It's so from a religious point of view, Kalyana Mitra, including guidance and support and encouragement, help people develop their value and give the bad behaviors. Kalyana Mitra inspires, faith, promotes, and ethical discipline. This is the inclusion, introduction, and next slide. The meaning of spiritual friendship and Kalyana Mitra. Kalyanas meet the gods or good friend and gods of noble and value, and Mitra is me friend. The full or literally me. Kalyana Mitra is me the spiritual friends or noble friends. The next title, best friend, is not rocket science. We has a lot of experience about the best friend. a lot of the best friend. But we cannot show this one is my friend is not. But we had a lot of experience. The best friend. The best friend is the say behind you. You are bad behavior. You will say that you are that side. That this is called the bad friends. And what about the good friends? Good friends, Kalana Meda concentrated cornerstone in the spiritual path in the Buddhism. According to the Upada Sutta, Ananda to the Buddha, we had the good friend. It is the head of life. The Buddha denied and said the Buddha told the Ananda, if we had the good friend, we will be success the whole life, not the head life. This is very important. Sutta. And the next title, the meaning of the social harmony. Social harmony refers to condition in which individuals grow life together with the mutual respect, cooperation, and self-purpose with conflict and manage constructively and diversity of assertives rather than sports. International social conflicts. Social conflict, contemporary society is such multiple interlocking for political and as group and polarization. Here I will say the polarization. For example, today what the many happening polarization. For example, the Russia and Ukraine, Israel and Palestine, and Thailand and Cambodia. This is many conflict, the polarization. Those such harmony through the special friendship. In the Buddhist version of friendship offers not only special guidance but also political strategy for social sustainability in the 21st century. Noble friendships at a bridge between personal moral development and the creation of harmonious compassionate society. In the final next slide, conclusion. To start a special friendship Meda in March at the board and doctrine cornerstone and Buddhism and practical necessity for modern society. Today, there's a lot of isolated conflicts and broken connection between the divide. Kalana Meda is a powerful other way to rebuild trust and promote social unity. The people and group and can product their mortal character and makes themselves stronger as a whole. Tell that the difference between good friend and bad friend and relationships, and the principle of spiritual friendships that brings personal growth and with the construction and inclusive people and sustainable society. That's all my presentation. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you very much, Venerable Panyananda, so for your the wonderful presentation. So now I will invite the Professor Joanna to give the comment and suggestion on your presentation.
Okay, thank you so much for your presentation. So I have some small suggestions. So maybe because of the lack of time, you haven't mentioned a sutta that I would think that would be very useful to analyze for this matter. So I think if your interest is in like application, this idea in society, right? So you could also draw some inspiration. You could also analyze Sigalovada Sutta, because this is a teaching directed to lay disciples. And there is also like quite a long passage about good and bad friendship, like what characterizes good friendship, what characterizes bad friendship. And maybe like the focus is not like 100% spiritual, but I think it would also give the context to your research, and also in terms of application to the society. That also could be like a bridge between the doctrinal basis and like the teaching directed to lay people could already like give some ideas, of application. So I think also like this is just an idea. It's not that I think it's necessary, but maybe you could look at some examples of literary characters that were kalyana mittas to each other, because it also would provide a perspective whether this is the same as this ideal, or there are some differences. Maybe there are different groups of people and it would perform differently. And another thing that I think you could consider, you could study, like there are many models of spiritual practice, right? So this kalyana mitta, noble companionship, it would be one of them, but also we've got this idea of solitary practice, right? The solitude as being, like the best point of departure for practice. So like the Buddha says to Ananda Thera that noble companionship is great, but there are also fragments but even better is the solitary practice, right, in the forest. So there's this ascetic ideal, which is also present in the early Buddhist texts. So maybe you could look like which teaching is directed to which types of bhikkhus, which types of listeners, and then you could like provide like a bigger perspective, wider perspective for your research. But thank you very much. I think this is also like a very important topic, and it proves what we were talking before, that in the Tipiṭaka you can find inspiration for resolving problems of modern society as well. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Professor. So now I'll invite Ajahn Sanu to share his comment.
Okay, Venerable Panyananda, all right, you have improved your skills in presentation very much comparing to your, a couple of years before in MA. So okay, you must improve. Yeah, very good. One thing that I love most about your preparation is that your footnotes. Your footnotes consist of a lot of very fresh. Many, I think, as I counted briefly, more than like nearly 10 footnotes come from the 2025, 2024. So this gives the very firm idea to support the fact that you did it by yourself. Because I just know I have a very much experience in detecting the student work. Yeah, if you just copy and copy, if you do the very quick copy work, copy pass, edit, copy and pass work, it's impossible for you to have a lot of citation with a very fresh publication like this. So this is the best part. Okay, keep on doing this. This is very good. I so much appreciate on this one, because distorting the information, is distorting the teachings of the Buddha. This is very, very, very much important. So that's why I encourage students to do it by yourself. Okay, editing is good. Editing is good, but you need to do it carefully. All right, do not rely on those copy and pass, and that's it. Okay, you need to check. All right, good. Next one, I agree with Professor Joanna, is that from the example of the sutta, given, maybe it's not enough, especially when you study on the social harmony, right? You gave us with the example of the very, very good friend. They are so popular, the best friend of the Moggallana Sariputta. So why don't you give some implications or some example of the more than 2 or 3 members of friendships, something like that? We have a lot. Okay, Professor suggests in this earlier in this morning about the Kuchatta, Kuchattara theory, right? This is maybe very, very, very work for your social harmony. I mean that due to Siri Samavadi, she's very lucky. She have just only one best friend, and this one best friend, lead them to final liberation for the whole package. Okay, this kind is a very outstanding example of how to make a social harmony, something like that. Okay, but given with the 2 friends, it's good. Okay, please do not remove. Okay, but to please add it
All right. One of the last suggestions is that, talking about the Kalyana term makes me remind to the teachings of the Buddha, the characters of the teachings of the Buddha. It's good. Ati Kalyanam, you know, same concept, okay? Ati Kalyanam. At the beginning, Mache Kalyanam, yeah. During his teaching is still very good, right? Same term, Kalyana. Pariyosana Kalyana. After the Buddha finished his talking, Dhamma talking, it's still beautiful, it's still good. So what does it mean? It means that if you apply this Kalyana words into your friends, it means that your friends should always be a good friend, not just the friend at the beginning, but fail to be a good friend in the middle and at the end of the life, something like that. Okay, so best friend should be the one who stay together for life. I remember that Hollywood movie, Bad,
Papaไม่ดัก Papa ไม่ดัก
Will Smith, Bad Boy for Life. Bad Boy for Life, Have you ever watched? Yeah, you should, okay? Is the real definition of good friends, even though they are bad, right? But whatever they do together until they die, bad boy for life, something like that. All right? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Achan, both of the professor, for your comments, suggestion. I think it's very wonderful regarding your academic and the footnote and everything. Even they suggest many important things. So now I will invite our third speaker. So Mechi Tipiṭaka Pumpkin. So presenting her the topics Metta Sutra as a framework of emotional regulation, the bridging Buddhist, loving kindness, and the positive psychology. Within 5 minutes, thank you.
So, thank you. First of all, yes. May I pay respect to the Tibetan and may I pay respect to my revered master. And good afternoon, class, my Dhamma brothers and sisters. And you can call me Meshi Patti. And today, the topic that I'm going to share with all of you is about bridging Buddhist loving kindness and positive psychology. So, may I ask all of you who chant in your daily basis? You can raise your hand. Who do the chanting in your daily basis? And how many of you know the meanings of the chant? Perhaps as a scholar, you may know, what are you chanting? So, why the mental well-being is matter to all of us today? The well-being is something that we cannot see with our own eyes, right? For example, if you have a fever, your body hot, right? Or if you have a headache, you can feel like there's something hitting your head, right? But if there is something wrong with your mental well-being, how do you find it out, right? And nowadays, according to the research, about 1 in 7 people worldwide face mental disorder. And in Thailand, 1 in 5 adults report in high stress. And there are numbers of rising of people who have anxiety or depression, right? So this is the main concern in this modern day. And according to the Buddha teaching, where the Buddha, he's mentioned about the discourse on the benefits of spreading loving kindness, where he talks about the 11 benefits, how beneficial it is to cultivate loving kindness. For example, one will sleep with happily, one wakes up happily, one does not see any bad dreams. And if we chant without knowing, we may not know that, maybe we should cultivate loving kindness in our daily life. And there is one study that I would like to share with all of you, is that it is a study about the loving kindness meditation that increase social connectedness, because we can deny that we, as a human, we live in we are a social animal, right? We have to live in a community, but how do we live with a harmony, a peaceful community, right? And this study, they gather about 93 participants and they divided into two groups. One group, they like cultivate loving kindness, like seeing one picture and send a sense of loving kindness. On the other hand, the other group just like look at stranger pictures, and it's conduct only 7 minutes of the research, and it found out that those who practice loving kindness, they create like a stronger bond, and it improve focus and clarity, and it help to promote like their mood regulation. So it can see like from this study that even though people who have like just a beginner of the practice can have such an improved result after they cultivate loving kindness, which is matched with the Buddha teaching that if you cultivate loving kindness, one will have a good sleep, or one can be dear to the humans beings, or one mind can quickly concentrate within just 7 minutes, can see a vivid change. And to just like sharing with all of you that with the Buddhist background that all of you have a knowledge, right? Loving kindness can cultivate compassion and benefit all beings. It's not just like such a belief. And in science, it's already shown that unmeasurable effects on mood and social connectedness. And it's a shared message that inner peace naturally extend outwards and fostering social harmony. So it's not just like as Professor Joanna, you're here in Thailand, you may have heard many like famous Thai dish, right? Like about Tom Yam Goong or Pad Thai. If you never taste it yourself, you may not know what it tastes like. Similar with loving kindness, meditation. If you never cultivate loving kindness towards others, you may not feel like what is the benefits of having a loving kindness as a basis in your mind. So for my presentation today, is just would like to encourage all of you, just give it a try to maybe send out your loving kindness from your heart to your, whether it's it your friends, family, or your stranger, and observe yourself. How do you feel in a day? And this is all from me today. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Mechi. You said
Patty.
Okay, Mechi Patty. Thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. So now I will invite Ajahn Sanu to give a comment based on her presentation.
Okay, good man, good matchy Patty, good matchy Tipiṭaka Phum Kem, right? So
Hi.
should I, according to your presentation, should I do it to you? Should I spread my metta, loving kindness to you?
Please.
Of course, right? Okay, good. Can we do it to the one we hate? Those haters. What is your recommendation? Yeah.
I would start out with the one that you feel easy to connect. After you're able to, like, for example, you're sending loving kindness to your parents, right? From the root, and then from the root can expanding like a tree, right? You can sending to those who, like, you feel like you may not like them.
Okay, thank you very much. But for me, I think spreading metta to the one you love is good. Yeah, but do it to the one you hate. It's something in advance. If you do it, it's better. Maybe it's the best. Something like that. Okay, that's why the Buddha mentioned the metta in the Brahma Vihara. It's appamanya. One of the names of the four subtle state of mind is the appamanya. It's meant that limitless to everybody. So loving kindness is also should be unlimited, something like that. Okay, you may add it. Okay, you are saved by the belt, saved by the belt because we have no time. Okay, I have this suggestion. Thank you.
Okay, so maybe just briefly, thank you for your presentation. I think that I would be very curious to see similar research as you were quoting done in Thai society. So maybe you could go further and try to do such research modeled on these ideas yourself. I think it would be quite easy to find a group of people who practice metta bhavana, quite often, but also I think it's something that would be applicable, like to measure also in Western societies, whether such practice that would be probably new to most of the participants what they would report in the self-report. But of course, this is a very important topic, and also as many of the previous topics we discussed, as some of the presentation also mentioned, many modern problems can be probably resolved by some inspiration from the Tipiṭaka. So I think your presentation is another example that we can find inspiration to resolving the anxiety, social tensions by applying some of the teachings that are already present. We don't have to make anything new. We can base ourselves on what is in the Tipiṭaka. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much for the professor. So I hope the Meiji can get lots of insight from the two professors. Now I will invite our fourth speaker. Our fourth speaker, Venerable Ashin Aloka, to present his topic, Buddhist teaching on the equality, to explore how Pali canon reflect the modern human rights. So please, within 5 minutes, you can present your paper. Thank you. Yeah.
Hello, good evening, whenever my colleague. Is it the first time for me in the international seminar? Okay. My topic is a Buddhist teaching on equality, but yeah, equality is so a little bit wide, but I will focus on the how Bali canon reflect the modern human rights. How 2,500 old 2,500-year-old knowledge and Buddhist teaching are how up to date with the modern human rights. So I will be making a little bit comparison between the human rights and Bali canon. And also non-discrimination is there are so many sutta in the Bali canon. In the Human Rights Article 1 and 2, all human beings are born free and equally in dignity and right. The second article of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights is a non-discrimination. Like the first in the example of the yoke and the blind-hearted, Buddha talk about the human like a precious and only human being can attain the enlightenment. That is not directly cooperated with the Article 1, but we can enlighten or we can be comparison with the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 1, and this kind of concept from the Pali canon. And also the second article of the human rights is not mostly how can I say? It's based on the non-discrimination. They are even though in the 18th, 19th century they have a discrimination in the we can read from the root or academic campaign such kind of book we can see. But into 2,500 years ago, they have a ethical rule and framework teach by the Buddha is compared with the how Buddha's share compassion to the people. At that time they are focused on 4 kinds of caste system that Brahmana, Khattriya, Warrior, even though there are 4 kinds of the for kinds of the caste system, but he applied and also untouchable. Buddha welcomed all of the caste, all of the people without discrimination in his Sangha community. And also, like in the Vatita Sutta, Asalayana Sutta, and also Akanya Sutta, Buddha described how caste system become and how moral conduct are important in the society, how become the world start and how caste system start, and also how moral important and also moral conduct is important for human being. And also in the Kosala Sanyutta, Buddha described like how even when hear the new daughter born, but in the Kosala display, and also other than Buddha said, even though a woman can be a wise or even can be born a ruler, so Buddha said, is it also Buddha also talk about the gender equality, and also another significance even is the Buddha welcome the woman into the Sangha community. Even though in this modern life, it is not is it not fair or not? Is it the significant action in that time? Because of later 500 or 600 BC, they have also a kind of sati sacrifice. In the India also, I have read the Father Valley. I'm a gay. In this book that show colonialism, even though ban they stop ban this kind of ritual. In this ritual, a woman need to jump into the fire. When her husband died, he need to jump fire with her husband, funeral, or dead body. Think about such kind of woman, such kind of action in that time. So Buddha is also reduce the Janaka by welcoming the woman into the Sangha. And also okay. And also Universal Declaration of Human Rights 3 and 4 5 also we can compare with the basic precept of the Buddhist teaching, non-killing, such a misconduction also. Non-killing, it is also abstract from the killing is also very we can cooperate with the Article 3. And also the first teaching of the Buddha, the Masakapa Wadana Sutta, is describe how the Four Noble Truths and also the Noble Eightfold. Here we can in the Noble Eightfold they have a right livelihood. It's also we can contact with the right to the life, not selling the human trafficking. Buddha ban the Buddha suggest this is not a good livelihood. And also in the Vinaya Buddha in the Vinaya man does not allow to have slave. I think it's okay to continue or not.
Can you conclude? So then I'll just ask Ajahn to the.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much.
There's no directly turn in the in the human right in the Bali country, but we can they have a visit a framework, conceptual framework described in the Bali country. The Buddha teaching is very up-to-date. Even though now the later 100 years ago, can we talk up-to-date? I think can we and also there's also now in the essay, I mostly compare the discrimination, the right to life, and also freedom of thought. I'm mainly focused on this. Thank you for your listening.
Yeah, thank you very much for your wonderful presentation. Even if it's your first time, it's wonderful. So I will invite Ajahn Sanu to share his comment.
Venerable Aloka. Okay, so do we have the human rights in Buddhism? This is a big challenge question. Okay, I have wrote one article related directly to this concerning human rights from the Theravada Buddhist lens. So maybe it's a are waiting for the publication. Yeah, so you need to wait. Okay, and I would like you to read my articles and make understanding, to use that into your paper. Okay, very nice. Thank you.
Venerable, thank you so much for your presentation. I wrote one of my MA thesis on the caste criticism, how the Buddha criticizes Brahmins in the Pali Canon and also in some Sanskrit texts. So I'm very pleased that it seems that I used the same suttas as examples. So I'm very pleased. So I do not really have that much comments, but maybe one thing you could think of adding, because you mentioned women and you mentioned this episode of the conversation of the Buddha with King Pasenadi, but maybe you could look for some other example, maybe some like more prominent example, and I would suggest you either maybe inspires by my morning lecture, or some inspiration for you could be like the character of Patachara, who was basically rejected by society and then accepted by the Buddha, and then she becomes some kind of like a female Vinaya master, right? So maybe some examples of accomplished female disciples could also enhance a little bit your presentation, and maybe some examples of some low caste Buddha disciples that also become enlightenment could also contribute to your vision of equality. So if there are such characters included, that means that the whole doctrine, the whole message was actually equal. It proves that it was actually equal. But anyway, thank you for your presentation. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, teacher.
Thank you very much, both professors. So I think you got a wonderful suggestion, and also they shared their own paper. So maybe you can refer both of the academic paper in the future. I think it's good for you. So next, I will invite the Tu On Wong. I'm sorry if I pronounced wrongly. So to present her paper. So origin of horizontal liquid broad and the couple tablets in the Chinese culture, and the futures of Hoa Buddhist temples in the Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. So Venerable, you have a 5-minute times.
Buddhism and technology. Yeah. My respect to Venerable Sanghas, my respect to Ajahns and Professor Joanna, as well as my classmates. My name's On, and I'm gonna do a presentation about Buddhism and technology, the case study of inscribed boards, couplets, and wood plaque printing method in China. Basically, Buddhism was spread to China around the first century CE by two Indian monks, Kasaba Matanga and Tamaratna, and after arriving, they started translating the Buddhist scriptures from Sanskrit and Sanskrit to Chinese, and then Buddhism was spread quite quickly in the society, as well as received the respect and worship from Chinese people, as well as the support from the ruling class. They began building the Buddhist temples and spreading sutras. And to the 5th century, Buddhism was considered the national religion, and people utilized available form of a medium to write and record the sutras, like wood leaves, papers. Then inscribed boards and couplets were also used in the Buddhist temples, with the purpose is to propagate, to deliver the Buddha's teachings in the short form and easy to understand ways. And till the 7th century, the Buddhism hit its peak and became the dominant religion in the Tang Dynasty around the late 7th century. And with the demand of spreading sutras, that is forced the ancient Chinese to think about any method that allows them to have as many sutra copies as possible. So at the time, they invented the first printing invention of China as well as of the world, called the woodblock printing method. So maybe if I present in the PowerPoint is the video clip, and then this can help you to better illustration about the method. So for the woodblock printing, the process is quite simple. First of all, people will carve the letters onto a wood block, and then they apply ink and paper onto the top, and then they press to form the printed page. Yeah. This is this is the printing method of woodblock printing. Yeah. So until the 11th century, there's still a higher demand of spreading sutras among Chinese society that again forced the people to think of another more advanced method that can help the people to produce the sutras copy in the higher efficient. So they came up with the second invention called movable printing type in the 11th century. And the process slightly different, that they will have individual character. It is molded on the on clay, and then they will apply the ink and paper on top, and then they spread to form a printed page. So the question here is why? What is the reason behind this invention? Why people have to spread as many sutras copies as possible at a time? So we have to go back to the Mahayana doctrine, because it's mentioned Buddhists could gain merit for themselves by reciting, upholding, reproducing, as well as to conserving the sutras. And this point is mentioned clearly in the sutras, every sutra. For example, the Diamond Sutra, this is the earlier printed book in China around the 8th century. Yeah. And another interesting point is that Chinese invention had inspired another first printed invention in Europe for more than 400 years later. Johannes Gutenberg, he wanted to print Bible, so he invented the Europe's first printing method based on Chinese movable printing type. And then Gutenberg Bible became well known in 15th century, and his printing press also served as the foundation for the development of the printing industry later. So to conclude, the message I want to deliver here is that there is, to some extent, a certain relationship between Buddhism and technology, and it's proved clearly that with the primary aim of gaining merit, then ancient Chinese came up with their first invention in printing. And they indeed played an important role in the evolution of science, particularly in printing technology, and it's laid down the great groundwork for the modern world. So I think studying from the past, people should continue to researching and spreading Buddhism. Maybe it can bring another breakthroughs in the future, and not only for the propagation of Buddhism, but also for the benefits of the society. And it's end of my presentation. Thanks for your kind attention.
Thank you very much, Bhikkhuni, for your wonderful presentation. So I will invite Ajahn Sanu to share your comment.
Okay, Bhikkhuni Huang. This is very interesting to me. Buddhism and Technology, a case study of some inscribed boards and couplets in China. Okay, good. Well, maybe because of the time limitations, that some of the data informations that you still lack, okay, in terms of the technology that they really used, okay, in the past, right? That they did in the past, that they used in the past, and how about the present? Yeah, those technically still ongoing. And how about in the future? You can offer the prediction of what is going to happen to those things that that were carefully preserved, that something like that. Because if we stop this kind of preservation, then it's going to be ruined very fast. Okay, in Thailand as well, we have up to the northern part of Thailand. I used to visit it. They have a very interesting project, Professor, to translate the Buddhist content that's awaiting to be translated. I mean, that no one cares about this one. Some of the text, it's available in the palm leaves, something like that. So these projects are exactly the same as your preservation. Okay, that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for your presentation. I'm not very familiar with this topic, but I think I've learned a lot even from a short presentation. So thank you so much for drawing my attention to this matter. And so I would like to encourage you to continue this reflection on Buddhism and technology, because I think there's lots of research on bridging and integrating Buddhism and modern science, as our today's topic is. But I don't think Buddhism and technology gained as much attention. So I think there's still a lot of space for new research. And I would be glad if you continued your research in terms of this Buddhism and technology application. Thank you so much, and best of luck with your research.
Thank you very much, Boda Professor, for your wonderful suggestion. I hope the Bhikkhuni can get a lot of knowledge. So as a moderator, I will try to conclude 5 topics together very quickly. So from the Venerable Anupam, he was talking about the understanding consumption behavior through the lens of neuroscience in Buddhism. So he was talking about the problem side. So he was talking from the modern science point of view. So when we have this kind of like the wanting to eat something, so that's the dolphin kind of the chemical produced. Because of that chemical production, so we want to eat more and more. So that is from scientific point of view. And from the Buddhist point of view, as when talking about the problem, so we have a tanha, like a desire, attachment. So we desire more to eat, and to get out of both of these solutions. So he was talking about the middle way, or yoniso manika, and the sati, and the meditation. So those are the solution to get rid of those things. And the second one, Venerable Panyananda, was talking about the history of spiritual friendship, or Kalyana Mitra, and the foundation of the social harmony. So he was talking about, again, the problem in the society, alienation and fragmentation, which we are facing difficulties. So, and then the bad friends. And then he was also talking about the good friend. And he also quote from the Ananda Buddha's teaching. So he was talking about Ananda, who encourage the good friend will encourage you to faith and the morality, all those things. And then also social conflict. So all these conflict can resolve through the Kalyana Mitra. And then the third one from the Meiji Patit, she was talking about her topic is Metta Sutra framework. So he mentioned that, so we have a lot of mental problem within Thailand, beyond Thailand, so in the whole world, lots of problems, there's stress and everything. So all these problems can solve through the practice of loving kindness. And he also mentioned here a very beautiful term, social animals, which is very interesting terms, which normally it's very rare to see. She used here social animal, which is which include everything. So based on the social animal perspective, we can practice compassion and all these things, which can resolve all these mental problem. Even she mentioned here, so trying to test the Tom Yam Kong. Without testing Tom Yam Kong, you can't feel what is test. So she is asking you to test the Tom Yam Kong of compassion or loving kindness. So you have to test the Tom Yam Kong, then you can understand what is compassion or loving kindness. And then our fourth topic, so Venerable Ashin Aloka, he was talking about the Buddhist teaching on the equality and explore the how Pali Canon reflect on the modern human rights, which is also very interesting topic. So he was talking about the non-discrimination and equality from the perspective of secular. So he quote from the UN, so which said all human being born as equal. So we all have an equal right, and that's from the UN quotation. And also from the Buddha's point of view, he was talking about so Buddha mentioned that we all are same human being. So we all have the capability or resources that we all can get enlightened. So then, yeah, I just want to add here one more thing from the perspective of what we say. The Buddha mentioned that we all are seeking happiness, and we're trying to avoid from the suffering, or we're trying to get out of suffering. From this basic point of Buddha's teaching, we also can prove that all sentient beings, all the social animals are same, equal. And then he point here. So also talking about when we're talking about equalities, Buddha also include women in the part of Sangha. So which is also Buddha bring the equality in the Sangha from the male or female society. So this is his. So last one, very quickly. So Bhikkhuni Wang. So she was talking about the origin of horizontal and the couple of tablet in the Chinese culture and the features of Hua's Buddhist template in the Ho Chi Minh City. So she was talking about the historical Buddhist canon since the 1st century till the 15th century, how the Buddhist printing and all this developed. So this is a very short conclusion as a lack of time. So lastly, I would like to say thank you very much for our two professors and all the presenter here, and also thank you very much for all our audience who wait or spent more than 3 or 4 hours here together with us, with 5 hours, right? 5 hours without your present, so we cannot do or we cannot share these things. So this is also talking about the Kalyana Mitra. So thank you very much for all the listeners which are listening in front of us or online. So thank you very much. So now we will conclude here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, our moderator, Venerable Tenzin Dorji Lama, and also Associate Professor Dr. Sanu Mahathanadull, and also Joanna, for opening the afternoon discussion on Buddhism and modern science in integrative reflections on the Tipitaka, and also commenting on 5 of our paper presenters from both PhD and MA students. I think it's time now that we will be soon ending our today's seminar. So Venerable Ajahn Pramanantakon is already here. So I kindly request all the Ajahns on the stage and moderators to please return back to seats, and staff, please clear the stage so that I can invite our Venerable Chairperson to kindly deliver a closing remark and end our today's seminar on the special visiting professor lecture series, lecture exchange under the MOU between International Buddhist Studies College, IBSC, and Faculty of Philosophy, Jagiellonian University from Poland, having Assistant Professor Dr. Joanna Gruszewska as a special lecture here today. And since the morning, we have been getting a lot of knowledge, starting from what she lectured on women in Pali literature, eminent Buddhist nun, lay woman with modern sciences, in perspectives of the women, especially specializing on women. And in the afternoon, we also had a special discussion for about 2 hours, which was a very long discussion and very interesting for those who are interested in learning about Buddhism and modern sciences, integrative reflections, both from Tipitaka and from the Western scholar view as well, right? So I think we have got enough knowledge, and thank you also to Venerable Tenzin Dorji Lama for doing such a wonderful moderating job today. Without further ado, may I kindly invite Venerable Assistant Professor Dr. Pramanantakon Piyapani, Vice Director for Academic Affairs of IBSC, to please take the chair and deliver the closing remark. Most Venerable Sir.
Okay, the show come to the end. It's come to the end now. Yes, the show. Yes, of course, the show begin by me and also close by me. The tremendous knowledge that you have gained from this academics seminar. I'm very happy to see our students come up here on stage to present their paper. This is called academic presentation. Yes, of course, this is the first time for you. You may feel nervous a little bit. Next, you may have experience from this time and develop yourself to present. So this is the first time for all of you. Yeah, the more less or more knowledge that you gain from this presentation, it depends on yourself. Who have much intention to the presentation, you have a lot of knowledge from this presentation. Yeah, finally, I would like to convey my sincere thanks. First, the person that I would like to say thanks to Assistant Professor Dr. Joanna from the Jagiellonian University, Poland. She worked very hard since the first step up to now. Up to now, yes, we have seen that she tried to prepare herself to deliver the lecture to our students, not only MA and PhD, but also go to the BA program as well. So we very much appreciate on what you have done for our students very well. And the second one to Ajahn PhD Director, Ajahn Sanu, Associate Professor Dr. Sanu Mahathanadull, for your presentation today. And also go to the MC, Pramaha Asira, and moderator, Tenzin Lama Dorji, and also go to my student again for your presentation. So our academic seminar come to the end. Thank you very much.
So before we end our session, I would allow Venerable Vice Director to offer token of appreciation to our guest lecturer today. So staff, please prepare the stuff, okay, to offer the token of appreciation and certificate of appreciation to our guest lecturer. And may I kindly invite Assistant Professor Dr. Joanna Gruszewska to receive this souvenir from Most Venerable Vice Director, and also to exchange some gifts from her as well. So Professor Joanna will be offering some souvenirs to Most Venerable Director, Janantakon. Okay. Okay. So some book offerings and some token of appreciation from the IBSC side.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much. So I have some too. So this is for you, Venerable. So this is a notebook and a pen with the logo of my university. For you. And this I would like to donate to library. It's my translation, so it's in Polish, but half of it, of course, there's a Pali text. So maybe some students get inspired to read at least the Pali. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Okay.
Satu. So that's a certificate of hard work appreciation that she has offered to IBSC.
Hard work too.
Yes, we will have to.
Okay. So next, we will be moving on to other participants to receive. So first, may I also invite Venerable Tenzin Dorji Lama to receive a certificate of appreciation as a moderator for today's session. And may I call upon Venerable Anupon Manirat, a PhD student from Buddhist Studies, to receive his certificate. Venerable Panjananda, a PhD student in Buddhist Studies, to receive his certificate from Most Venerable. Third, Venerable, Mechi Tipiṭaka, Pumkem, PhD student Buddhist Studies, to receive the certificate from the Vice Director. Venerable Ashin Aloka, MA student in Buddhist Studies. And last one, Bhikkhuni Tu Wan Vuong, MA student in Buddhist Studies, to receive her certificate as well. อาจารย์ Sanu also maybe to get involved in a frame picture together. Okay, อาจารย์ may I also invite อาจารย์ Associate Professor Dr. Sanu Mahathanadull to receive his certificate from อาจารย์ Vice Director as well. So to all the participants today, also the audiences, presenters, our special lecturer for being here today, for being with us for the whole day until now. And now may I invite Ajahn Nattakon to please pay respect to the triple gem. A group photo, sorry, yeah, I totally forgot that. We will have a group photo together, and after that, pay homage to Triple Gen and end our today's academic seminar. So please, everyone, please be on stage to take a group picture together with all all the faculty members, the paper presenters, and also the audiences. Please come and join with us in this frame as a memo for today's online seminar. Please join the stage. Bhikkhunis, you can also join. Machi, you can join. Ladies and gentlemen, you can join the frame. Yeah, for lay people and lay students, maybe you can stay in front of venerable monks. Professor, you can stay on the stage. Okay, yeah. What about over there on the right side? Please check the balance. Yeah, you can get on the stage as well. If you are tall, you can stand back behind. Machi, you can also move there. Okay, Machi, on the right hand side, maybe. So the seminar is successful today. Okay, thank you very much. So let us all pay homage to the Triple Gem. Ajahn Nattakon, please lead us, and let's end our today's ceremony.
ข้างหลังครับอาจารย์
Okay, all please pay respect to the Triple Gem. Arahan Samma Sambuddho Bhagava Buddham Bhagavantam Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammam Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Saṅkho Saṅgham Namami
Satu, thank you. Please do not forget to do the survey form. Please, can you show the QR code? Please scan the QR code and please finish the survey so that you can receive the certificate for yourself. After you have finished the survey form, you'll receive a certificate in your email. All right. So you can scan and just do this form. And the certificate will be sent to your email. All right. Please don't forget to use your correct email. Correct email. All right. Thank you very much, everyone.